Chapter 4673. As he spoke, Immortal Emperor Go Chen's imperial robe shook and a golden throne appeared below him. The moment the throne appeared, a powerful imperial aura gushed out from the top of the mountain. Dongfeng Qianghao, who was standing next to Immortal Emperor Go Chen, was surprised. Immortal Emperor Go Chen glanced at Dongfeng Qianghao and slapped the throne. A golden light turned into the shape of a dragon python and disappeared into the void. However, a moment later, there was a thunderous rumble and a giant golden bell appeared in the sky. The golden bell was covered in inscriptions, and strands of purple gas came out from the inscriptions. They were like tiny earthworms swimming in the golden light. Under the golden bell, there was a yellow light that fell into the void and covered the entire Lingyun side palace. What a guy, the vast void bell! Aoe saw the bell and narrowed his eyes. He seemed to be mocking himself. Old Go Chen, you actually took the vast void bell from the Immortal Palace to the Lingyun side palace to set up a defense. Fortunately, I didn't have any bad intentions towards you. Otherwise, I'm afraid I wouldn't even be able to leave the Lingyun side palace. Don't have the heart to harm others, but don't let your guard down. Immortal Emperor Go Chen replied with a smile. I've been taken advantage of several times, so I have to learn from my mistakes. Dongfeng Qianghao's face didn't even turn red. He bowed and said, Your Majesty is a wise ruler. Perhaps some people were jealous of you before, but now that the world-destroying strange insect is besieged, Your Majesty's strategy is to focus on the foundation of the Confucian cultivators. Once we kill the world-destroying strange insect and return peace to the hidden immortal continent, who will not listen to Your Majesty? Haha, well said. Immortal Emperor Go Chen stood up and laughed. We Confucian cultivators emphasize on political and martial arts. I have no objections to ruling the world through political means. However, if I don't use troops, the 100 schools of thought seem to have forgotten that the Sun Clan is a martial arts clan. This battle will let you all see my martial arts strategy. With that, Immortal Emperor Go Chen waved his sleeve. Dong dong dong. 9 bell chimes resounded and a vast wave of golden light rushed towards the Lingyun side palace. The entire Lingyun side palace turned transparent in an instant. Even the mountain peak under Xiaohua and the others turned into debris. Caw-caw. Behind Immortal Emperor Go Chen, the sound of birds chirping could be heard. Xiaohua looked up and saw that the sky was giving birth to auspicious signs. Colorful immortal birds were descending from the sky. Behind them were several hundred immortal beasts. Xiaohua had never seen most of them before. Whoosh, whoosh. High up in the sky, the cloud jade necklace and immortal birds and immortal beasts rushed out. Below Xiaohua and the others, the crisscrossing ground changed again. Waves of blue ripples came out from the void and covered the entire ground. Immortal Emperor Go Chen patted his golden throne and smiled. Everyone, follow me to the jade pool. Hiss. Immortal Emperor Go Chen's figure followed the golden throne and rushed into the cloud jade necklace. The blue ripples created waves as the sound of bells came out from the clouds. Several hundred female officials held various kinds of music and channeled their true energy to play. And in another direction, several thousand female generals also flew out from the clouds. These female generals all had weapons and danced to the music. Their graceful dance was not hidden by their armor. On the contrary, it exuded a mighty and murderous aura, making it even more pleasing to the eyes. Xiaohua and the others flew for a while. Whoosh! The vast void bell in the sky disappeared. Layers of jade necklace fluttered down like willow catkins. When they reached the top of everyone's head, they turned into specks of light. Within these specks of light, the entire space became transparent. Boom! 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 3 golden pillars of righteous energy appeared in the north, roaring as they pierced through the heavens and the earth. Outside the pillars of righteous energy, thousands of chains of inscriptions rushed out from below like dragons, surrounding the pillars of righteous energy. At the same time, the fragrance of the Confucian cultivator's destiny turned into a layer of fine peony flowers in the air. These peony flowers had different colors and their fragrances were competing with each other in terms of beauty. What was special was that there was an unyielding and proud aura coming from these peony flowers. Whoosh! The runic chains rushed to the end of the sky and turned into countless scrolls, writing brushes, scrolls, and even flowers falling down from the sky. In this magnificent scene of the mortal world, a golden peony and a pink peony bloomed amidst hundreds of flowers. At the spot where the pink peony bloomed, the shadow of another golden throne appeared. The Eastern Sea Empress was wearing a palace robe and sat on it with great majesty. The moment her figure appeared, Immortal Emperor Go Chen's golden throne also swayed and turned into a golden light that fell into the other peony. The Celestial Emperor and Empress sat down. Clang! With a soft sound, the originally transparent space immediately lit up. Among the hundreds of flowers, Princess Zi Xia, Princess Qing Qing, Princess Miao Miao, and the others appeared. Even Tai Bai Jinxing, Heavenly King Qing Yu, Heavenly King Fu Yu, Heavenly King Sun Jian, and the other generals and ministers appeared. Roar! The light came out with a bestial roar. An auspicious beast similar to a qilin flew out from the void. This beast's body was transparent and countless runes condensed into words. Finally, they turned into scrolls that rotated inside the beast's body. Even the beast's 4 hooves were in the shape of writing brushes and inkstones. When the auspicious beast arrived at the spot where the flowers bloomed, it exploded again. Countless ingots, copper coins, and scrolls flew all over the sky. Namo Amitba. Seeing that the Confucian cultivators had settled down, the Dipankara archaic Buddha world exalted chanted a Buddhist mantra and took a step forward to the west. Following the Dipankara archaic Buddha world exalted's figure, the Maitreya Buddha world exalted, the Manjushri Bodhisattva, and the Samantabhadra Bodhisattva followed closely behind. Clank, clank, clank. Countless sounds of knocking wooden fish resounded from the void in the west. Along with the sounds of Sanskrit chanting, layers of Buddhist lights fell from the sky like a heavenly river. Wherever the Buddhist lights fell, the silhouettes of countless kind men and women were revealed. Heavenly flowers flew out from their foreheads and circled around them. Similar to the jade dew flowers of the Yaotai mountain, a Buddha statue sat on each of these flowers. Although each Buddha statue had a different appearance, and some of them were even blurry, these Buddha statues all had their palms pressed together as they bowed towards the Dipankara archaic Buddha world exalted and the Maitreya Buddha world exalted. Dang. When the 2 revered sages' 9 lotus thrones appeared and sat on them, the 2 bodhisattvas also sat cross-legged on the lotus thrones. Another Buddhist bell rang, and Buddhist lotuses appeared where the heavenly flowers fell. Sitting or standing on the Buddhist lotuses were the disciples of the Buddhist sect. Ka. Almost at the same time as the Dipankara archaic Buddha world exalted took a step forward, the golden-winged great rock let out a clear cry and flapped its wings, flying towards the east. The profound armored Pentaceratops also revealed its draconic form and followed behind it. Although the 2 great sages' demonic bodies were several thousand feet in size, when they landed in the air, they only looked like ordinary demonic beasts. Just as the 2 great sages landed in the east, countless starry and moonlight pillars fell from the sky, enveloping the entire east. As the starry and moonlight pillars rumbled, clouds of starry dust rose like clouds. Within the starry dust, starry phenomena flickered. Then, dozens of starry phenomena collided with each other. The images of the demon race great sages who had participated in the Jade Pool gathering were displayed within the starry and moonlight pillars. Whoa! Under the starry and moonlight pillars, within the Jade Pool's jade-green ripples, a loud whimper resounded. 2 stars broke through the sky and landed below the golden-winged great rock and the profound armored Pentaceratops. When the golden-winged great rock retracted its wings, the profound armored Pentaceratops coiled its body. Bam! 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 Crisp noises resounded again. The demon race's demon kings flickered with starry brilliance, revealing themselves near the 2 great sages. Haha! Dragon Master Shao. The remaining AOE looked towards the south and smiled. Before the Jade Pool gathering, we had invited the Taoist Gate to take a seat. If you don't mind, why don't you sit together with my Dragon Island? No need. Xiao Hua smiled faintly. Since my Taoism has come to the Jade Pool gathering, how can we not have a seat? This is not how the Immortal Palace treats its guests. I believe that His Majesty Immortal Emperor will not favor one and discriminate against the other. Haha. AOE let out a long laugh, and his dragon body also spread out. Boom. The same loud noise resounded from beneath the Jade Pool's jade-green ripples. A huge water pillar soared into the sky. Countless water splashes swayed within the water pillar, and within the water splashes, there were tens of thousands of sparkling and translucent strands. If one looked carefully, each strand of translucent strands looked like a crystal dragon. Waves of dense dragon aura seeped out from the water pillar. Not only that, when the water pillar soared into the sky in the south collapsed as well. Countless essence chi of heaven and earth turned into crystal lights that were like children's arms and rushed down. Before they touched the water pillar, they exploded again. Whoosh! Whoosh! In the whistling of the wind, the phantoms of the 5 elements primordial beasts, azure dragon, white tiger, black tortoise, vermilion bird, and qilin, appeared majestically in the light and shadow. Roar! Aoe let out a loud roar. His dragon body was supported by the water pillar. Behind him, the Lord of the East Sea, Ao Qian, also landed. Boom! 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 Next, hundreds of water splashes gushed out from the surroundings of the water pillar. Many dragon generals also entered from outside the Lingyun side hall. Seeing the followers of the Exalts following them in, the primordial mist ancestor felt bitter. He knew that with immortal Emperor Gaoqian's temper, he would definitely not allow the riding crane Taoist and the Dark Night Child to enter. Although Xiaohua did not bring any disciples with him when he entered, all the Exalts knew that Xiaohua had the Kunlun mirror in his hands. Within the Kunlun immortal realm, there were Xiaohua's disciples. After Xiaohua sat down, he could bring as many disciples as he wanted. What about the primordial mist ancestor? In the bustling jade pool gathering, he was the only one sitting alone in the sky-bearing palace. Even if he participated in the jade pool gathering, he would still be a laughingstock. The primordial mist ancestor could endure humiliation in front of immortal Emperor Gaoqian, the golden-winged great rock, and the Dipankara archaic Buddha. However, he could not lose face in front of the 4 sects' disciples. In the future, if this matter was brought up, his sky-bearing palace's disciples would not be able to raise their heads. Therefore, the primordial mist ancestor made a prompt decision and hurriedly sent a sound transmission to Xiaohua. Taoist Xiao. What's wrong? Xiaohua, who had always been oblivious to humiliation, replied in bewilderment. Seeing that we are all Taoism cultivators, could you not let your Fortune Gates disciples out? Although the primordial mist ancestor's tone was pleading, his heart was already filled with resentment towards Xiaohua. Why? Xiaohua did not bring any Fortune Gates disciples with him. He did not think of letting a few unfamiliar Shenhua continent's disciples out. However, he still asked in confusion. However, he only asked a single question before he immediately understood. He rolled his eyes and said, "This Xiao understands now. However, when this Xiao brought my disciples here, I made it clear that I wanted them to experience the Kunlun immortal realm. I can't possibly extinguish my Fortune Gates disciples' desire just because of Taoist Zhao's words, right? This one will compensate the Fortune Gates disciples." When the primordial mist ancestor saw immortal Emperor Gaoqian looking in their direction, he hurriedly replied, "As long as Taoist Xiao agrees to this one's condition." Well said. Xiaohua stroked his chin as he pondered inwardly. He really did not understand why the primordial mist ancestor valued face so much. However, he also did not understand what kind of extortion the primordial mist ancestor would accept. After a while, Xiaohua sent a sound transmission to the primordial mist ancestor. "How about this? My Fortune Gate does not lack any origin stones, spiritual herbs, and other things. If you have any heavenly treasures, why don't you give them to this Xiao?" Heavenly treasures? The primordial mist ancestor almost fainted. He angrily said, "Taoist Xiao, this old man only has one request. Whether your disciples come to the Jade Lake gathering or not, what effect does it have on them? Why are you asking for so much from the start? A few heavenly treasures? Aren't you afraid of biting your tongue?" "All right, forget about a few." Xiaohua smiled and said, "If you have wood, water, or water origin stones, why don't you take them out? This Xiao will agree to your request." The primordial mist ancestor's face flushed red. He turned his head and ignored Xiaohua. He looked at the rippling waves of the Jade Lake, as if there were female officials coming out of their baths. All right. Xiaohua saw that there was no hope, and he could only say, "This Xiao remembers that you have some lost refining techniques of my Tao Gate. Just take them out and let this Xiao see. This can be considered as spreading the glory of my Tao Gate's techniques." Humph. The primordial mist ancestor coldly snorted. He raised his hand and flicked out a jade eye from his sleeve, then lowered his head again. Hee. Xiaohua beamed with joy as he received the jade eye. He casually sent it to the Fortune Gate on Shenhua continent. The current Shenhua continent was flourishing, and there were many cultivators. Who knew how many Tao Gates experts would be born with this jade eye? Immortal Emperor Go Chen naturally didn't know that Xiao Hua had gained a small advantage. Seeing that the primordial mist ancestor was no longer speaking, he raised his voice and said, "Lightning Master Xiao, you are my immortal palace's lightning master. If you don't mind, you can also sit in my immortal palace." "Many thanks for your kindness, Your Majesty," Xiao Hua replied. "This Xiao is also the Guanyin Bodhisattva of the Buddhism sect. How about this Xiao go to the Buddhism sect? If Guanyin Bodhisattva comes, this seat will welcome you," the Dipankara archaic Buddha said with a smile. However, this smile contained a hint of bitterness. After all, the 99 feet golden body of the first Guanyin Bodhisattva of the Buddhism sect in the hidden immortal continent was actually a Taoism Mahayana. Ayo! Right at this moment, the golden-winged great rock's voice resounded like thunder. He exclaimed, "Taoist Xiao, you are the Dragon Island's Dragon Master, the Immortal Palace's Lightning Master, and the Buddhism sect's Guanyin Bankara. Why, haven't you cultivated my demon race's martial arts? How about this? This sage will also give you the title of Demon Master. This way, you will be the master of the 4 sects, the lord of a sect." TSK. Xiao Hua flicked his sleeves and said, Demon Master, why does it sound so awkward? This Xiao isn't of the demon race, and I don't understand the demon race's martial arts. Why should I talk about Demon Master? It's better not to mention it." Seeing Xiao Hua joking around with the other exalts, especially after hearing that Xiao Hua had so many identities, Princess Zixia, who was sitting among the peony flowers, was already mesmerized. Such a man, who stood at the peak of the 3 continents and came looking for her on 7-colored auspicious clouds. What regrets did she have in this life? During the Jade Pool banquet, Taoism also had a seat. However, it hasn't been used for many years. Today, I will open it for you. Looking at Xiao Hua's high-spirited appearance, the East Sea Empress was also full of joy. As she spoke, she raised her hand and took out a phoenix hairpin from her hairbun, then threw it into the jade pool. The phoenix hairpin turned into a stream of light and crashed into the jade pool like lightning. Boom! In the south of the jade pool, near the water pillar where the second elder of the dragon tribe was sitting, an earth-shattering sound rang out. The blue waves were torn apart, and a non-oval vortex appeared in the crack. The vortex became bigger and bigger, and finally condensed into a black hole that was thousands of feet wide. In this black hole, mysterious fluctuations spurted out like breathing. Immediately, the 5 elements primordial beasts, which were originally hovering near the dragon tribe, found the source of the fluctuations and flew over. Boom, boom, boom. Immediately after, a huge crack appeared in the void, and hundreds of spiritual chi of heaven and earth crashed into the black hole like a hurricane. Roar! An inexplicable beast roar came from the black hole, and then a wild aura, an unyielding will, and a rebellious spirit overflowed from the black hole. This. Xiao Hua sensed the aura and was quite puzzled. Moreover, this aura was extremely vast, and its spirit was also very similar to the heaven-defying spirit of the Tao Gate. He couldn't help but stare at the black hole in astonishment. Boom! After the aura passed, another pillar of 7-colored light gushed out. Within the light, one could see that a dark golden throne with an ancient design was revealed. Buzz! The moment this throne appeared, even the golden thrones below Immortal Emperor Go Chen and the Eastern Sea Empress began to vibrate. At the same time, the silhouette of a dragon throne appeared below Dragon King Ao Chen's body. Countless gazes fell on this throne. A domineering aura that could pierce the heavens emanated from the throne, enveloping an area of thousands of feet. The Grand Mist Throne! The Grand Mist Throne! The Grand Mist Ancestor couldn't help but exclaim. Our Tao Gate's Grand Mist Throne really did fall into the Immortal Palace. Xiao Hua glanced at the Grand Mist Ancestor from the corner of his eyes. Seeing the realization on his face, he finally understood where the Grand Mist Ancestor's Tao name came from. Fuck, this Grand Mist Ancestor really has lofty ambitions. He wanted to sit on the Grand Mist Throne since he was young. Xiao Hua cursed inwardly. But now, it's this Xiao who has the chance to sit on the throne. Not you. Where the Grand Mist Throne landed, the void collapsed. Countless amounts of heaven and earth origin energy rushed in, and countless illusions were destroyed. The 5 elements origin beasts flew around the throne in a frenzy. Master Xiao Lei. Immortal Emperor Gaochen was very satisfied with the shock caused by the throne's appearance. He smiled and said, This Grand Mist throne has been submerged under the Jade Lake for many years. Now that Master Xiao Lei is the leader of the Dao Gate, the Fortune Gate's great old master, you naturally have the qualifications to sit on it. Please. Haha. Your Majesty, you're wrong. How can this be called the Grand Mist throne? It should be called the Fortune throne. Xiao Hua laughed heartily. With a tap of his finger, a bolt of lightning descended. Boom. The entire throne instantly emitted dazzling lightning. Following the lightning, the throne slowly flew towards Xiao Hua. Xiao Hua stood in mid-air and scanned his surroundings. His gaze started from the Grand Mist Ancestor, then Aoe, Ao Qian, the Maitreya Buddha World Exalted, the Dipankara Archaic Buddha World Exalted, and others. Finally, it landed on the Grand Mist Ancestor. Xiao Hua then looked towards the faraway immortal palace and said, Your Majesty, this Xiao thanks you for this throne. However, if this Xiao were to sit on it alone, it would be quite lonely. Can I borrow Princess Zixia to sit with this Xiao? Ha! Immortal Emperor Gaochen was very happy. He nodded and said, This emperor loves to fulfill others' wishes. Although Princess Zixia has never married you, there is already an engagement. So what if she sits with you at the Jade Lake? If this matter were to spread to the hidden immortal realm, it would be a good story. Approved. Thank you, Your Majesty. Princess Zixia's face was already flushed red. When she heard Xiao Hua's words, her eyebrows relaxed. She stood up and bowed to express her thanks. Then, she urged her red cloud to fly to Xiao Hua's side. Xiao Hua affectionately reached out his hand and held her cold and sweaty hand. Princess Zixia lowered her head slightly. She was extremely shy. Then, Xiao Hua slightly used his strength and gestured to Princess Zixia. The two of them slowly sat down. Boom. As the two of them sat down on the throne of creation, countless bolts of lightning that were several times more tyrannical than the one Xiao Hua had seen in the Creation Dao Palace rushed into the sky. They turned into a huge pillar of lightning that swam through the sky. This lightning force forced the Dragon Island's second elder, the Maitreya Buddha, and the others to retreat a distance. As the throne sat down, the Heavenly Being and the Thunderbolt Master urged their figures and stood on both sides of the throne. Boom boom. Two similar thrones formed by lightning appeared. The Grand Mist Ancestor's face was incomparably calm. He faintly smiled and his figure landed on the Heavenly Being's side. Xiao Hua naturally wouldn't tease him. Lightning flashed as the Grand Mist Ancestor also sat on the throne. Empty. The Dao Gate seats were arranged. The entire Jade Lake was once again filled with the clear sound of a chime. Groups of women wearing seamless heavenly clothes appeared from the void. Although these women were beautiful and had graceful figures, they didn't seem to have a lively body. They only had faintly discernible lines. The heavenly women danced along with the sound of the chime. A kind of sadness and a kind of mystery involuntarily appeared in everyone's heart. However, at this time, Xiao Hua didn't look at these heavenly women. Instead, he slightly tilted his head and looked at Princess Zixia. The princess also turned her head and looked at Xiao Hua. The two of them were glued together like glue. Their fingers were tightly intertwined and their thumbs were stuck together. Dong. After a while, another chime sounded. The heavenly women finished their dance and disappeared into the void. Waves of blue waves rolled out as maids from the immortal palace flew out from the Jade Lake with fine wines and delicacies in their hands. At the same time, a golden table appeared in front of Xiao Hua's group. After the banquet was served, before immortal Emperor Gaochen could raise his cup, the Eastern Sea Lord, Ao Qian, smiled and said, Your Majesty is a bit stingy. The most famous dish of the Jade Lake gathering is the immortal peach. This item is left behind by the heavenly court. It blossoms every 3,000 years, bears fruit another 3,000 years, and ripens another 3,000 years. Ordinary people who eat it will become lighter and become immortals. Human cultivators who eat it will ascend and become immortal. My dragon race who eats it will live as long as the heaven and earth, as long as the sun and moon. Why are you still not taking it out? Ha ha! Immortal Emperor Gaochen laughed and said, My dear subject, you always nag about this and always ask for the seeds of the immortal peach after eating it. Didn't I already tell you? This immortal peach is left behind by the heavenly court and can only be grown in the Jade Lake of the Empress. Other places are not allowed. I don't believe it, I don't believe it. Aoe used his dragon claw to stroke his dragon beard again and said with a smile, My Dragon Island is a land of water essence. Everything can grow there. Even if this immortal peach is an immortal root, it will definitely be able to grow. Haha, good. Immortal Emperor Gauchen seemed to be very happy. He turned to the Eastern Sea Empress and said, Empress, the second elder of the Dragon Palace hasn't come to my immortal palace for a long time. We can't not give him face. How about giving some seeds to the Dragon Island? Unfortunately, before Immortal Emperor Gauchen could finish, the Eastern Sea Empress smiled and said, Your Majesty, the immortal peach is the only thing in my immortal palace. Back then, it was Your Majesty who issued the decree that every immortal peach's pit must be taken back and forbidden the immortal peach from flowing to other places. Today, Your Majesty wants me to go against Your Majesty's decree? Immortal Emperor Gauchen turned to look at Aoe with an innocent face and said, Second Elder, as you can see, it's not that I'm not accommodating. It's just that the Empress isn't willing. All right. Aoe waved his hand and said with a smile, It's all your immortal palace's things. It's fine if you don't want to give it to me. Why do you have to make so many gimmicks? It sounds like you're teasing me. Haha. Immortal Emperor Gauchen laughed loudly and raised his cup. He said loudly, I declare that the Jade Lake Gathering begins today. My first toast is to the invited exalts. I wish that all the sects and races will work together to resist the world-exterminating strange insect to the boundary of the world and prevent the 3 continents from being plunged into misery and suffering. After our great victory, I will hold a banquet here and invite all of you. Aoe, the golden-winged great rock, the Dipankara archaic Buddha, and Xiaohua raised their cups and saluted each other from afar. Then, they drank their cups in one gulp. Then, Immortal Emperor Gauchen raised his cup again and said, My second toast is to the exalts of all sects and races. Now, the 3 continents are in a turbulent situation. Talents from all sects and races have emerged. Not to mention the Great Sage Starry Sky Great Sage and the heaven-defying Thunder Phoenix. The Thunder Sound Temple has the Maitreya Buddha, and the Immortal Palace has the 5 Cheese unification art that the Lord of the Literature Stream Palace brought to us Confucian cultivators. Just the emergence of Taoism and the emergence of several human Mahayana realm experts is enough to make us invincible against the world-exterminating omen. Come, let me toast to all of you. Thank you, Your Majesty. Xiaohua and the others stood up and raised their cups in response. The third toast. Immortal Emperor Gauchen raised his cup again and looked around. He looked at the Immortal Palace's people and said, I toast to the Confucian cultivators and the Immortal Palace's people. The turbulent situation in the 3 continents has inevitably affected my immortal palace, the hidden immortal continent, the sutra-seeking in extreme bliss, the horizon of day and night, the heavenly secrets hall, and many other matters have also told me that I can't always be high and mighty. In the future, I must learn from the 100 schools of thought and get closer to the immortal palace's officials. Of course, I also toast to the Empress. I have to deal with the external affairs of the immortal palace, while the Empress has to deal with the internal affairs of the immortal palace. Oh, and I also hope that after Princess Xixia gets married, she can put down her princess status and follow her daughter's teachings. She can assist her husband and help him achieve great things. The East Sea Empress looked at Immortal Emperor Gauchen with a bit of surprise. However, a trace of gratitude and warmth flashed through her eyes. Princess Xixia stood up with a red face and respectfully looked in the direction of the immortal palace. As for the peonies, near the edge, Princess Qingqing's face was pale. She gritted her teeth and looked at Princess Xixia. Thank you, Your Majesty. The Immortal Palace's people raised their cups and thanked Immortal Emperor Gauchen for the third toast. Dongfeng Qianghao didn't sit down. Instead, he raised his cup and said respectfully, Since Your Majesty mentioned horizon of day and night, this old official will not sit down. Here, this old official will represent the 4 great clans to give Your Majesty a toast. In the past, we were a bit suspicious and were a bit estranged. However, after thinking about it recently, the 4 of us feel that Your Majesty is the most suitable person to sit in this position. Sigh. Immortal Emperor Gauchen raised his cup and sighed. My dear official, I won't say much. It's lonely at the top. As long as you can comprehend this sentence, you will also understand my difficulties. Come, let's drink this cup. This cup of wine will let bygones be bygones. Dongfeng Qianghao said proudly. Indeed. Immortal Emperor Gauchen nodded and raised his cup. Hehe. Xiaohua sat on the throne of creation in the distance. He was still holding Princess Xixia's hand. He coldly looked at Immortal Emperor Gaochen and Dongfang Qianghao. He knew that no one at the Jade Lake Conference would believe what they said. The Immortal Palace and the four great clans had a long history of grievances. If it wasn't for the rise of the Tao Gate and the apocalypse, they would be like fire and water now. How could this be resolved with a cup of wine? Perhaps taking Xia with me and roaming the shores of the West Sea will be the most wonderful thing in the future. Xiao Hua thought to himself. He unconsciously turned his head and saw that Princess Xia's face was still red. She raised her head and saw Xiao Hua's gaze. Both their eyes were filled with satisfaction. When Dongfang Qianghao was about to sit down, Immortal Emperor Gaochen smiled and said, "My dear official Dongfang, I remember that you have already made a request. For the prince. Not good." Before Immortal Emperor Gaochen finished speaking, the East Sea Empress' heart thumped. She knew what Immortal Emperor Gaochen was about to say. She quickly stood up and smiled. "Your Majesty." Immortal Emperor Gaochen was stunned. He looked at the Empress and asked curiously, "Empress, what's the matter?" "Not good." Princess Xia saw this and her body stiffened. She knew what the East Sea Empress wanted to do. She quickly sent a message to Xiao Hua in a low voice. "Ah?" Hearing Princess Xia's sound transmission, Xiao Hua was completely stupefied. How could there be such a thing? Why didn't I know about it? How could the Lightning Immortal tell you about this? Princess Xia anxiously replied. "Mother will definitely propose in person." Princess Xia was right. While she was sending a message to Xiao Hua, the East Sea Empress had already spoken. "Your Majesty, I have something I wanted to discuss with you. However, since today is a joyous day, the sects of the three continents have reached an agreement to fight the world-destroying strange insect together. At the same time, it is also a good day for your Majesty to betroth Princess Xia to Lightning Immortal Xiao Hua. Therefore, I boldly hope that your Majesty can add to the joy and betroth Princess Qingqing to the Lightning Immortal of the Fortune Gate." What? Not to mention Immortal Emperor Gaochen. Even Dongfang Qianghao was stunned. Although the two of them didn't discuss this beforehand, Immortal Emperor Gaochen's intention to rope Princess Qingqing in and Dongfang Qianghao's intention to delay the marriage was already set in stone. However, they didn't expect the East Sea Empress to interfere. In the distance, Princess Qingqing watched all of this in disbelief. She felt as if she was in a dream. Her head, which was already heavy, became even heavier. However, in her scheming mind, a primitive joy involuntarily emerged and a smile hung on her lips. "Congratulations, sister." Princess Miao Miao whispered enviously to the side. Princess Qingqing was so happy that she forgot to reply. However, the moment Princess Miao Miao finished her words, Immortal Emperor Go Chen understood the Empress' intentions. He quickly calculated the implications and laughed. "Wonderful, wonderful, the Empress and I are indeed of the same mind. I was just about to bring up Miao Miao's matter and the Empress immediately thought of Qing. Princess Miao Miao's face instantly paled after hearing this. An indescribable sorrow appeared in her eyes. Old fox. Dongfang Qianghao cursed. He knew that Dongfang Huayun had a special liking for Princess Qingqing among the princesses of Immortal Emperor Gaochen. He also mentioned Princess Qingqing, not the cowardly Princess Miao Miao. However, to the Dongfang clan, Princess Qingqing and Princess Miao Miao didn't matter as long as she was a princess of the Immortal Palace. Therefore, Dongfang Qianghao also stood up with a smile. He was about to express his gratitude when a thunderous voice came from the side of the throne of creation. "What the hell is a betrothal? Old man Gaochen, old woman Dongfang, why do you need to worry about my matters? You're annoying me for no reason." Humph. Immortal Emperor Gaochen's expression greatly changed as he snorted. How could he tolerate the Thunderbolt Immortal's rudeness to his face? However, as soon as Immortal Emperor Go Chen snorted, the Thunderbolt Immortal rolled his eyes and stood up. He smiled and said, "Your Majesty, your wine is truly rare in this world. After drinking a few cups, I couldn't help but lose my composure. I was drunk just now. Your Majesty, please forgive I for being a country bumpkin." "Haha, don't blame me, don't blame me." Immortal Emperor Gaochen hurriedly stopped while he was ahead. He smiled and said, "The wine at the Jade Lake gathering is something that the hidden Immortal continent doesn't have. It's normal for you to be a little tipsy." Normally, Immortal Emperor Gaochen would mention Princess Qingqing after saying this. However, seeing that the Thunderbolt Immortal was angry, he couldn't bring it up anymore. He quietly waited for the Thunderbolt Immortal to explain so that he could resolve the awkwardness. Sure enough, the Thunderbolt Immortal said politely, "The Book of Songs is abundant, Guan Guan Ju Jiu, in the river continent. A gentle and graceful lady is a gentleman's dream. This humble Taoist has only met Princess Qingqing once, and it was during a battle. This humble Taoist doesn't think that I have a good relationship with Princess Qingqing, and this humble Taoist doesn't think that I can have a good future with Princess Qingqing. Therefore, I ask your Majesty and Empress to reconsider. Also, I am now engrossed in cultivation and have reached a critical moment. I have long lost interest in worldly affairs." Of course, the East Sea Empress couldn't tell the truth about Princess Qingqing. Immortal Emperor Gaochen thought that the Empress wanted to use Princess Qingqing to split the fortune gate. Seeing that the Thunderbolt Immortal rejected her, he pondered for a moment and nodded. "Forget it, if that's the case." The moment Immortal Emperor Gaochen spoke, the East Sea Empress immediately understood the outcome. She sighed inwardly. Perhaps she had the same intentions as Princess Xixia, but she didn't have no plans to seek happiness for Princess Qingqing. After all, whether it was Princess Qingqing, Princess Xinxin, or Princess Miao Miao, they were all her daughters. However, when she thought about how her words prevented Princess Qingqing from marrying into the Dongfang family and instead became Princess Miao Miao, the East Sea Empress didn't know whether to be happy or sad. Unfortunately, the East Sea Empress still underestimated her own daughter. Before Immortal Emperor Gaochen could finish speaking, Princess Qingqing flew out from the peony and screamed like a cuckoo, "Thunderbolt, you're full of nonsense. If you weren't interested in me, why did you take advantage of me that day? You. My chastity has been tarnished, How can I marry someone else? This is bad." Princess Xixia's expression changed when she heard this. She didn't expect Princess Qingqing to cut off all means of retreat and reveal the matter of her being taken advantage of in front of the four great sects. Back then, Princess Xinxin didn't reveal the whereabouts of half a heaven's heart. Immortal Emperor Gaochen lost face and banished her to the lower realm, where she was suppressed at the bottom of the Liao River. Now, Princess Qingqing's words angered him 100 times more than Princess Xinxin. Obviously, Immortal Emperor Gaochen couldn't do anything to the Thunderbolt Immortal and the Fortune Gate. Thus, he could only punish Princess Qingqing. Of course, there were only two outcomes for Princess Qingqing. One was to marry the Thunderbolt Immortal, and the other was to be suppressed, or even suppressed forever. Chapter 4674. Damn it! Xiao Hua's expression changed. He didn't expect Princess Qingqing to be so vicious as to force him to abdicate. Thunderbolt Immortal. Thunderbolt Immortal. Princess Miao Miao, who was beside Princess Qingqing, was scared out of her wits. However, she finally came to her senses and hurriedly flew out. "Please take pity on Qingqing. Ever since she fought with you at Dawn and Dawn Cliff, she has been thinking about you." Damn it! The Thunderbolt Immortal was furious. What does it have to do with me whether she thinks about me or not? The Thunderbolt Immortal's gentleness was naturally taught by Xiao Hua. Now that he saw Princess Qingqing's ferocious expression trying to pester him, he was naturally anxious. The Thunderbolt Immortal's human nature wasn't perfect, so he naturally didn't know about. Xiao Hua originally wanted to send a voice transmission, but Princess Xixia hurriedly said in a low voice, "No, absolutely not. If Princess Qingqing comes to the Fortune Gate, our Fortune Gate will be in chaos." Thus, Xiao Hua didn't say anything else and allowed the Thunderbolt Immortal to pester him endlessly. Humph. Immortal Emperor Gaochen's expression darkened after seeing the princess causing so much trouble. He scowled and glared at the Eastern Sea Queen standing next to him. Humph. The gathering hasn't even started yet and Princess Qingqing has already caused so much trouble. Who knows where his face has been thrown to? Immortal Emperor Gaochen scowled and glared at the Eastern Sea Queen. The East Sea Empress's face turned pale, and she lost her composure for a moment. Good. Princess Qingqing's face had already turned pale when she heard the Thunderbolt Immortal's ruthlessness. Kang! A rainbow sword appeared in her right hand as she wailed. "Since you don't want me, I no longer have the face to exist in this world. Thunderbolt Immortal, today, I'll die in front of you." She said that. She pulled her right hand towards her neck and viciously cut it off. Everyone at the Jade Lake gathering was a supreme being. Stopping Princess Qingqing from committing suicide was as easy as flipping a hand. However, Xiao Hua's divine sense suddenly stopped. Princess Zixia was right next to him. Princess Qingqing had always been Princess Zixia's greatest enemy. How could he attack her without Princess Zixia's permission? In particular, during the Jade Lake Conference, Immortal Emperor Go Chan and the Eastern Sea Empress were the closest to Princess Qingqing. If the two of them didn't make a move, how could Xiao Hua make a move? As for Princess Zixia, she sneered in her heart when she saw Princess Qingqing's reaction. She was very clear about Princess Qingqing's tricks. She knew that Princess Qingqing was relying on the fact that no one would let her die for no reason at the Jade Pool gathering. That was why she threatened the Thunderbolt Immortal with her death. If it was another occasion, Princess Qingqing would definitely use another method. Since Princess Zixia and Xiao Hua had such thoughts, the Dipankara Archaic Buddha, the Maitreya Buddha, the Golden-Winged Great Rock, the Profound Armored Pentaceratops, Aoe, Ao Qian, and even Dongfeng Qianghao had such thoughts. As for the Eastern Sea Empress, she merely raised her hand and stopped. Although she felt sorry for Princess Qingqing, her thoughts were similar to Princess Zixia's. She also understood that the punishment Princess Qingqing was about to face might not be any better than death. If she tried to save her, Immortal Emperor Go Chen would definitely be furious. She might as well let Immortal Emperor Go Chen do it. This way, Princess Qingqing would receive less punishment. Princess Miao Miao's thoughts were similar to the Eastern Sea Empress. Although she was the closest to Princess Qingqing, her strength couldn't compare to Princess Qingqing's. Therefore, she anxiously looked at Immortal Emperor Go Chen with pleading eyes. However, when the Azure Sword's aura chi landed on Princess Qingqing's snow-white neck, a trace of blood flowed out. Seeing that Princess Qingqing's beautiful head was about to be chopped off, Princess Miao Miao suddenly realized that the mean and scheming Princess Qingqing, who never allowed herself to be in danger, was serious this time. How is this possible? Princess Miao Miao instantly felt that this was extremely absurd. At the same time, she cried out in shock. Qingqing Princess Zixia's thoughts were different from Princess Miao Miao's. She didn't think that Princess Qingqing would fall in love with the Thunderbolt Enlightened Master after meeting him once. However, she still couldn't watch Princess Qingqing commit suicide in front of her. She hurriedly urged, "Hurry up and save." Xiao Hua was already accumulating his aura. When he heard Princess Zixia's order, he didn't even hear it clearly and immediately sent out his divine sense. However, before Xiao Hua's divine sense could settle down, boom, 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 a series of loud explosions rang out around Princess Qingqing. That space instantly collapsed. The fluctuations of magic power, the righteous qi of the Confucian cultivators, the power of the stars and moon of the Yao clan, and even the Buddhist light all shattered at the same time. It turned out that when Xiao Hua made his move, the Maitreya Buddha, the Golden-Winged Great Pang, and the others also made their moves at the same time. The result was, no one was able to stop Princess Qingqing from committing suicide. The Azure Sword had already landed on Princess Qingqing's neck. Blood splattered everywhere. Damn it! Xiao Hua's figure blurred without hesitation and disappeared into thin air. However, it was already too late for him to make his move. Princess Qingqing wasn't the slightest bit attracted by the commotion around her. She only stared at the Thunderbolt Enlightened Master. Apart from risking everything in her suicide attempt, her heart was truly dead. Her eyes were filled with despair, helplessness, and desire as she stared at the Thunderbolt Enlightened Master. Unfortunately, the Thunderbolt Enlightened Master's eyes didn't change at all. He only looked at her indifferently as if he was someone unrelated to her. Alas, forget it. I'll just let this life pass. In the future, I won't join the imperial family anymore. Princess Qingqing's final thought was born. What Princess Qingqing didn't know was that the Thunderbolt Enlightened Master's heart felt like it was being pricked by needles. Traces of understanding appeared in his lifeless eyes. It seemed like he was in pain, but also seemed like he was worried. Just as Princess Qingqing was feeling disappointed, the Thunderbolt Enlightened Master's figure blurred and disappeared along with Xiao Hua. The simultaneous attack of several supreme beings was extremely powerful. The collapsed space blocked everyone's attempts to rescue Princess Qingqing. Even people as strong as Xiao Hua and the Thunderbolt Enlightened Master were unable to break through. It seemed that Princess Qingqing was really going to die right at this moment. An unexpected event occurred. A pitch-black silhouette of an insect that was over 10 meters in size flashed out from the collapsed space, and then a string of silhouettes that were almost 10 meters in size flashed before everyone's eyes. Swoosh! All of them struck Princess Qing's right cheek, azure bow sword, and even her right arm. There was no exception. A piece of Princess Qing's face was sliced off, the azure bow sword was slashed into two, and even her right arm and shoulder were sliced off. Princess Qing didn't move at all. She immediately fainted and her delicate body fell towards the bug shadow. Who is this? Everyone at the jade pool was shocked. The appearance of this shadow was too strange. There were no fluctuations of magic power or spatial fluctuations. It just flew out so strangely that no one noticed it. World-destroying bug? Of course, it only took a moment for the supreme beings to see it clearly. They all turned pale with fright. How did it get here? At this moment, Xueqi had already broken through the void fragment and appeared near the bug. He saw Princess Qing's body fall towards the bug, and the bug didn't hesitate to slash its sickle-like tentacles at Princess Qing's waist. He raised his hand without hesitation. Boom! A pale golden fist flew out and hit the bug with lightning speed. Shwa! The fist landed on the strange insect's body, and the strange insect's body was immediately smashed. But at the same time, the strange insect's body swelled up again. Of course, it only flashed a few times. Pang! With a loud sound, the strange insect's body exploded. In the explosion, a lightning flashed and the Thunderbolt Enlightened Master's figure appeared. He frowned slightly and raised his hand to catch Princess Qing. Looking at the blood gushing out of Princess Qing's missing right arm and the pain between her brows, the Thunderbolt Enlightened Master had an indescribable feeling. The Thunderbolt Enlightened Master didn't hesitate. He raised his hand and pointed at Princess Qing's body. The gushing blood naturally stopped. At the same time, the Thunderbolt Enlightened Master took out an elixir and put it into Princess Qing's mouth. Once the elixir entered her mouth, color slowly returned to her face. Then, the Thunderbolt Enlightened Master raised his hand again and took out the severed arm that had fallen into the jade pool. He looked at it and was about to reattach it. Cough cough. Xueqi saw this and hurriedly coughed twice. He reminded, fellow Thunderbolt Enlightened Master, men and women shouldn't touch each other. Earlier, you were a little rude. Today, we'll save Princess Qing. As for the treatment, let the Immortal Palace handle it. Okay. Hearing this, the Thunderbolt Enlightened Master looked around and waved his hand, sending Princess Qing and her severed arm to Princess Meow Meow. Just as the Thunderbolt Enlightened Master was about to speak, he heard a panicked cry from under the peonies. What is this? The Thunderbolt Enlightened Master looked up and saw a group of fist-sized insects flying out of the void beside the group of maidservants who were playing the music. When they saw the maidservants, they waved their serrated tentacles. Many of the insects even waved their hind legs and looked at the maidservants. These maidservants were clearly caught off guard. They all wanted to use their abilities to block, but they didn't dare to make too much of a fuss. Thus, most of them hurriedly dodged. These strange insects were about the size of a human fist, and their tentacles and hind legs were extremely sharp. The maids were no match for them. Wherever the tentacles and hind legs passed, not only were the maids' palace robes torn, even their skin was injured. The most serious injuries were to the bone. Damn it! Seeing these maidservants injured, the Thunderbolt Enlightened Master's heart couldn't help but feel pain. He cursed and waved his hand, sending out waves of lightning that accurately hit the hundreds of strange insects. Boom boom boom. All of the strange insects rapidly expanded, producing dark green fog. However, once the fog was produced, the bodies of the strange insects couldn't shrink and they exploded one after another. Fellow Taoist. The Thunderbolt Enlightened Master retracted his gaze from the chaotic maidservants and looked at Princess Qing who was taken away by Princess Meow Meow. He asked in his heart, Is this love? Xueqi's heart was filled with mixed feelings. He naturally hoped that the Thunderbolt Enlightened Master would have humanity and become an independent person. However, he didn't want the Thunderbolt Enlightened Master's love to fall on a woman like Princess Qing. Seeing Princess Qing, Xueqi couldn't help but think of Chen Yi from Dawn Rain Continent. He knew that Princess Qing's love for the Thunderbolt Enlightened Master was just a type of use. Love is very complicated. Xueqi naturally couldn't explain this most complicated emotion of the human race. He could only say half-heartedly, You still need to experience it yourself. However, I feel that it's better for you to leave. It was a pity that he had only said half a sentence in his heart. Buzz. Waves of tsunami-like sounds resounded from the surroundings of the Jade Lake. A kind of fluctuation that Xueqi was familiar with came from the source of this sound, and it surged towards him from all directions. This fluctuation attacked the Naiwan Palace. Just as it appeared, many maidservants had already fallen. Xueqi's divine sense swept over and he couldn't help but be shocked. He saw that the entire space was filled with strange insects of different sizes. Among these strange insects, the small ones were as small as ink dots while the large ones were more than 10 feet long. All of them flapped their wings and pounced towards the Jade Lake. Their targets were either human or demon cultivators, or Buddhist light, lightning, or the power of the stars and moon. Damn it! Xueqi didn't have time to explain to the Thunderbolt Enlightened Master what love was. He cursed in his heart and his figure flashed, landing on the throne of creation. Looking at the countless strange insects wreaking havoc in the space, Xueqi narrowed his eyes and pondered in his heart, it seems like. This Zhao's guess was correct. The black dots that I saw in the eye of the Western Sea that year. Were these strange insects? If that's the case, these strange insects didn't attack from the borders of the 3 continents, but from the spatial meridians of the 3 continents. In other words, the defensive line that we discussed before was completely meaningless. Since these strange insects could attack the space where the Lingyun Side Palace is located, they can naturally attack any place in the 3 continents and 4 seas. Now we have to face many defenses. It's time to fight to the death. Immortal Emperor Gaochen was originally angered by Princess Qing to the point of 1 Buddha coming into being and 2 Buddhas going through nirvana. When Princess Qing committed suicide, he, who was the most qualified and most likely to help, instead coldly watched and didn't do anything. This was because in his eyes, Princess Qing truly acted on her own and reaped what she sowed. Not only did she lose face, but the reputation of the Immortal Palace was also smeared. Princess Qing's suicide was her best choice. However, when he saw the appearance of the strange insects and the changes that occurred, Immortal Emperor Gaochen coldly snorted and thought that he was lucky. After all, these strange insects were an excellent excuse, especially when Xueqi and the Thunderbolt Immortal made a move. It was also a good way out. However, before Immortal Emperor Gaochen could say anything, even more strange insects attacked, not giving him a chance to speak. Seeing the panicked maids, Immortal Emperor Gaochen was somewhat angry. He slapped the phantom of the golden throne below him. Boom, boom, boom. A huge explosion resounded as a beam of light that resembled a dragon or tiger rushed into the sky. Bang, bang, bang. Countless fine explosions resounded. In the space to the north where the Confucian cultivators were located, an area of several thousand feet in size, all of the strange insects were killed. Calm down, calm down. Immortal Emperor Gaochen's oppressive voice resounded in the Jade Lake. This is the Jade Lake gathering. All the Supremes are here. What are you afraid of? Unfortunately, before Immortal Emperor Gaochen could finish, a miserable scream resounded. Below the peony bush that was the furthest away from Immortal Emperor Gaochen, a strange insect that was several zhong long strangely rushed out from the void. Its sharp hind legs, in the blink of an eye, chopped off the arm of a maid with a low cultivation. The maid screamed and fainted. At the same time, the strange insect's tail came out from the maid's back and stabbed into her heart. There was a flash of blood at the tip of the tail, and the woman's chest withered instantly. Namo Amitba. To the side, Namo Wisdom Manjushri didn't dare to be careless. He quickly chanted a Buddhist chant and formed a mudra with both hands. Boom! A Buddhist light flowed and entered the strange insect's body. The entire body of the strange insect seemed to be plated with this Buddhist light. It was golden and dazzling. Then, its entire body suddenly expanded. In the blink of an eye, the strange insect was more than 10 feet in size. At the same time, a layer of dark green mist seeped out from the grayish-white spots on the strange insect's body. Then its body shrank rapidly. However, it stopped after shrinking for a few feet. Chirp chirp. The strange insect made a hissing sound as if it was happy. It abandoned the maid and pounced on Manjushri Bodhisattva. This Nanwu wise Manjushri is surprised when he sees the light of Buddha around the strange insect. The green mist is intertwined with the light of Buddha and it looks very weird. He knew that his cultivation was not enough, but he really didn't expect that his Buddhist mudra not only didn't harm the strange insect, but also allowed it to evolve. Amidst his astonishment, Namo Wisdom Manjushri raised his hand and touched the light behind his head. A strand of faith light turned into a sword ray and entered the strange insect's body. Namo Wisdom Manjushri didn't believe that a strange insect could bear the power of faith of the Buddhism sect. However, Namo Wisdom Manjushri still underestimated the magical power of this strange insect. As the faith light fell, the strange insect's body immediately became transparent. Layers of Buddhist light seeped in from the outside. Then, a light shadow like a Buddha statue appeared in the strange insect's body. At this time, the strange insect's body expanded again. 150 feet, 200 feet, 300 feet. Namo Maitreya. Seeing that the strange insect's body was expanding and the light shadow of the Buddha statue in its body was becoming clearer, Namo Maitreya put his palms together and chanted a Buddhist chant. Buddha in all living things is nothing more than this. Although this strange insect came from the outer region, with the Buddhist light and faith, it can also become a Buddha. Boom. Amidst the Maitreya Buddha's chanting, the strange insect finally couldn't control its body that was swollen by the power of faith and finally exploded. While Namo Wisdom Manjushri was killing the strange insect, Sun Jian, Heavenly King Qing Yu, and Heavenly King Fu Yu were also enraged by immortal Emperor Go Chen. They quickly flew out and waved their weapons to kill the strange insect. At the same time, they also ordered the guards outside of the Jade Lake to come in and resist. Rumble! At the location of the golden-winged Pang and the black-armored Pentaceratops, waves of cold power of the stars and moon shot up to the sky like pillars of light. Under these pillars of light, all the strange insects were killed. Even the Armageddon strange insects that were attracted by the light pillar of stars and moon rapidly expanded and exploded when they came into contact with the power of the stars and moon. If the pillars of light of the demon race's great saint were so powerful, then there was no need to mention Xiaohua's lightning. The lightning was like tens of millions of flying swords and instantly killed all the strange insects south of the Jade Lake. Although the Dragon Island and the Buddhist sect also used their methods to kill most of the strange insects that appeared before the Immortal Palace, the Great Sage Hall, and the Fortune Gate, the strange insects seemed to be endless. They rushed out of the void like moths to a flame and pounced on the divine abilities of the Supremes. Immortal Emperor Go Chen's expression was very ugly. After he shouted, "Calm down," he didn't say anything else and only watched everything that was happening at the Jade Lake with a heavy expression. Of course, the immortal soldiers and generals of the Immortal Palace were also well trained. At the beginning, it was only the maids with weak cultivation who panicked. After the immortal soldiers and generals appeared, they began to organize an effective defense and gradually killed the strange insects. "Your Majesty," Xiao Hua urged the lightning to protect the southern region. Seeing the countless strange insects flying out, he thought of something and said with a smile, "Earlier, I told you about the strength of these strange insects and also mentioned how to kill them. I'm sure your Majesty can see that the Supremes didn't believe me. Now that these strange insects have come to disturb the gathering at the Jade Lake, isn't this a chance for us to test them?" Humph. Immortal Emperor Go Chen snorted coldly. It was obvious that he still held a grudge against the Thunderbolt Immortal. However, after he snorted he said, "Heavenly King Qing Yu, set up the formations. Use the Cloud Mist formation, the Tiger Roar formation, and the Flying Crane formation to deal with the attacks of the strange insects. Let's see how strong these strange insects are and what methods can be used to kill them." "Yes, your Majesty." Hearing this, Heavenly King Qing Yu didn't dare to be negligent and hurriedly ordered, "Everyone, release the Cloud Mist formation." Yes. The immortal soldiers and generals blocked and killed the strange insects while flying and forming an origin formation. As soon as the origin formation was formed, countless mighty pillars of chi fell from the sky. Layers of clouds emerged from the nearby space and shrouded the strange insects like clouds. Swish! 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 Wherever the clouds passed, it was as if thousands of guillotines were chopping down. The strange insects that were enveloped by the clouds were all cut in half. The corpses of the strange insects fell down like leaves. "I don't think this will work," Xiao Hua said indifferently. "Not necessarily." Immortal Emperor Gaochen replied coldly, "My Immortal Palace's Cloud Mist formation, unfortunately." Before Immortal Emperor Go Chen could finish his words, rustle, rustle, rustle. The millions of insect corpses that had yet to fall into the Jade Lake suddenly emitted strange ripples. Then, the two halves of the insect corpses came back to life. These shapeless insects formed a formation and like a black fog, they fell onto the jade lake. Zzzzzzz. Strange noises appeared again as the space above the jade lake began to shatter. These strange insects were actually devouring the heaven-earth origin chi and other things attached to the space. The East Sea Empress frowned and raised her hand to summon the jade lake's waves. However, Immortal Emperor Gaochen ordered indifferently, "Don't be hasty. Don't kill them yet. Master Xiaolei is right. The strange insects attacking the jade lake is indeed a disappointing matter, but it is also a rare opportunity. Everyone here is the supremes of the various sects, so there is no suspense about the outcome of this battle. Let's see. What kind of ability these strange insects have to destroy the world?" "Yes, Your Majesty." The East Sea Empress nodded and stared at the strange insects above the jade lake. The insects were densely packed and most of them were only a few inches in size. However, as Immortal Emperor Gaochen spoke, these strange insects had already devoured the space. Waves of strange ripples came from other parts of the space as the heaven-earth origin chi automatically repaired the spatial cracks. Strands of grayish-black light appeared above the jade lake's waves. When the light appeared, some of the strange insects were sucked into the light and disappeared. However, even more of them flapped their wings and pounced on the jade lake's waves. Chirp, chirp, chirp. Like silkworms devouring mulberry leaves, the jade lake's waves dropped by half a foot. Chirp, chirp. When the strange insects recovered, they screeched and rushed into the sky again. They either pounced on the immortal soldiers and immortal generals or the pearls formed by the heaven-earth origin chi. None of them were quiet. Heavenly King Fu Yu's expression slightly changed when he saw the strange insects rampaging again. He looked at Heavenly King Qing Yu and waved his hand, ordering, "Brothers, set up the tiger roar formation." Yes. The immortal soldiers and immortal generals received the order and moved their bodies to change the formation again. A moment later, a tricolored origin formation appeared above the jade lake. Roar. A roar came from the origin formation as a shadow that was several thousand feet tall flew out with the roar. This shadow looked like a tiger but was not one. It had a pair of wings on its back. The moment this shadow appeared, thousands of vast chi pillars fell from the sky. Then, the shadow gradually solidified and pounced on the strange insects that were like black clouds. Wherever this tiger shadow passed, the space was also torn apart. All the auras were disturbed as a chilling aura shrouded the nearby area. Unfortunately, the strange insects that were shrouded were not afraid of death. As soon as the tiger-shaped shadow solidified, they began to fly toward the shadow. Even the strange insects that were not shrouded were attracted by the aura of the Great Spirit Pillar. They spread their wings and flew out. Puff, puff, puff. Wherever the shadow landed, tens of thousands of strange insects were killed. They either turned into powder or were smashed into pieces. There were even more that were torn apart. After the shadow, the strange insects that were attracted to it swarmed over and landed everywhere on the shadow. Rustle, rustle, rustle. The sound of leaves being eaten was heard again. The tiger shadow suddenly became much dimmer. Damn it. Immortal Emperor Go Chen saw this and knew that the tiger roar formation was not effective either. Everyone. Heavenly King Qing Yu also frowned and gave the order to change the formation again. The time it took to eat a meal, the Immortal Palace set up 10 different origin formations. Although the effects of each origin formation were different, none of the origin formations were very effective. Moreover, after the time it took to eat a meal, the strange insects that were only a few feet tall had grown to dozens of feet tall. They were much more powerful than before. Rather than saying that the Immortal Palace was testing the strange insects, it was more accurate to say that the Immortal Palace was using the origin formations to feed the strange insects. Finally, Xiao Hua raised his voice and said, "Your Majesty, the immortal soldiers and immortal generals should form an origin formation to fight against the world-destroying strange insects rather than fighting alone. However, if you want to have the same effect as dealing with ordinary strange insects, it's impossible. Based on my previous experience of fighting against strange insects, I'm afraid that I can only use the heaven and earth essence energy that exceeds the absorption limit of the strange insects to stuff them to death. The question is, where is the absorption limit of these strange insects?" Aoe also frowned and said, "Back then, after the strange insects appeared in the stacked Jade Legacy realm, the elders of my Dragon Island also discussed this matter. According to the description of the escaped dragons, this thing seems to be even more powerful than Long Sea. The damage of the body and the attacks of Dharma powers are all ineffective. Only the dragon aura can explode it. Everyone, please wait a moment. When the golden-winged rock heard this, he said, "Let me see if this strange insect can devour the power of the stars and moons." He spoke. The golden-winged rock waved his wings. A thumb-sized pillar of starlight and moonlight emerged from his body and pierced towards a strange insect like a sword. Sage Rock. The Lord of the East Ocean, Ao Qian, did not know whether to laugh or cry. He pointed at the demon mountain peak with his dragon claw and said, "Why are you testing it? Aren't there already thousands of strange insects devouring the pillar of starlight and moonlight above your head?" Boom. The golden-winged rock naturally ignored Ao Qian. The pillar of starlight and moonlight landed on the strange insect. The strange insect also suddenly expanded and produced a dark green fog. Its body slowly shrank. It was obvious that it was devouring the pillar of starlight and moonlight. However, in just a moment, the strange insect's body exploded. "Damn it, this is troublesome," the golden-winged rock shouted. "It's not a problem for me to kill these strange insects. It should not be a problem for those demon kings and great demons. But what about ordinary demon generals? This strange insect really has the ability to destroy the world." Xueqi smiled coldly and said, "Of course. Otherwise, how could we have seen the apocalyptic warning sign when we were in Longevity Town?" "Humph, even if it has the ability to destroy the world, so what?" Immortal Emperor Gauchen was still disdainful towards the strange insect. All living things in the world have the ability to reinforce and counter each other. Although these strange insects are powerful, they definitely have a weakness. It's just that we don't know about it. Moreover, within the 3 continents, the strongest is at the peak of 9th level essence energy. No matter how many of these strange insects there are. At this point, Immortal Emperor Gauchen was suddenly shocked. He seemed to have thought of something and shut his mouth. What Immortal Emperor Gauchen thought of, Xueqi and the others also thought of. Everyone's expression changed. After all, there were too many strange insects to count. Who could guarantee that there wouldn't be any monsters at the peak of 9th level essence energy? If there were only 1 or 2 peak-level strange insects, they would not be afraid. However, with so many strange insects, how many peak-level strange insects would appear? At this moment, everyone had some understanding. Just these low-level strange insects might not be able to trigger the apocalyptic warning sign. There must be many peak-level strange insects appearing to trigger the apocalyptic warning sign. Namo Maitreya Buddha. Namo Maitreya Buddha placed his palms together and said, "My Buddha is merciful. There is a Tao in heaven and earth. There will always be a trace of life in the midst of all difficulties. Although these strange insects are powerful, Your Majesty is right. Heavenly horses also have a weakness. Today is a good opportunity. Let's take a look at these strange insects and see where their weakness is." When he heard up to here, Xueqi suddenly thought in his heart as he recalled the strange mosquito he'd encountered in the exquisite pagoda that overturned illusions while he was in the ruins. That day, when Xueqi subdued the mosquito, he asked it a question. That question was, other than using more heaven and earth essence energy than you can bear to make you explode, other than your natural enemy, what other methods are there to kill you? The reason why Xueqi asked this question was because he had encountered a strange insect before. The strength of the strange insect made Xueqi shudder. Therefore, when Xueqi saw a mosquito that looked similar to the strange insect, he couldn't help but ask about it. That mosquito didn't seem to be willing to answer, but it was forced by Xueqi to say a few methods. At that time, Xueqi secretly shook his head. He felt that those methods were too harsh. The reason was that to kill the mosquito, it needed a different kind of heaven and earth essence energy. Because strange insects like the mosquito and the strange insect ate heaven and earth essence energy, they could devour all kinds of heaven and earth essence energy. Who knew what kind of heaven and earth essence energy was different to them? Therefore, Xueqi let the mosquito go. Now, when he encountered the strange insect again, Xueqi naturally thought of this. However, with all the sovereigns present, the heaven and earth essence energy, the righteous energy, the power of the stars and moon, the power of faith, the Buddha's light, and so on, they all appeared at the jade pool. These strange insects also had a strange appetite. They devoured all kinds of true energy, so they weren't afraid of having a bad appetite. However, since this was a method to kill the strange insect, Xueqi could not tell the sovereigns. Therefore, Xueqi hurriedly said, "Everyone, since these strange insects devour true energy, We can only rely on true energy to make them explode. Then let's think about it another way. If there is any true energy that the strange insect can't devour, wouldn't it be killed? Wonderful! The golden-winged great Peng clapped and shouted. Dragon Teacher Zhao's idea is really unimaginable. Let me think. Besides the power of the stars and moon, what else do I know? Cuckoo! As the golden-winged great Peng spoke, his entire abdomen suddenly emitted a strange sound. Then, the golden-winged great Peng opened his mouth again. Woo! A demonic energy mixed with purple and gold rushed out, piercing through the void and directly piercing into the shell of a strange insect that was a few feet in size. A cluster of red lotus hellfire flickered, and the power of reincarnation fell on several strange insects. Boom! Where the red lotus hellfire fell, the strange insect's shell was immediately ignited. GG! The strange insect hissed, as if it was in pain. Seeing this, Xiaohua and the others couldn't help but be overjoyed. However, right at this moment, the green mist gushed out from the strange insect's shell once again, extinguishing the red lotus hellfire. Moreover, after the hellfire was extinguished, it didn't disappear. Instead, it transformed into wisps of blood-red viscous substance that seeped into the strange insect's shell, causing the strange insect to swell up once again. Amitabha, Amitabha. The Dipankara archaic Buddha raised his brows and exclaimed in shock. He knew that if the strange insect could even devour the power of reincarnation, the Thunderclap Temple wouldn't have any methods to restrain it. Kill! The Thunderbolt Immortal roared. He raised his hand, and sword-like lightning flashed, killing the strange insect on behalf of the Dipankara archaic Buddha. Oh! Xiaohua looked at the Thunderbolt Immortal strangely. If it was in the past, the Thunderbolt Immortal might consider for himself or the Fortune Gate's disciples. However, he would never consider for others. Now the Thunderbolt Immortal actually thought that the Dipankara archaic Buddha was the Buddha Lord, and that it wasn't appropriate for him to commit murder. Instead, he killed the strange insect on behalf of the Dipankara archaic Buddha. Wasn't this the sign of his awakening? However, after the Thunderbolt Immortal killed the strange insect, he retracted his hand and calmly stood at the side. Taoist, would you like to give it a try? Xiaohua looked at the heavenly being and smiled. Your 3 lights augmenting thunder might be the nemesis of these strange insects. That's right. I'll go take a look. Hearing this, the heavenly being smiled proudly and flew out of the mountain peak. Seeing the heavenly being flying out, a swarm of strange insects immediately pounced on him. These strange insects emitted extremely faint yet powerful fluctuations that surrounded the heavenly being. The heavenly being's expression didn't change. He let out a long roar and revealed his 3 heads and 6 arms. Roar! The 3 heads opened their mouths and shot out 3 light pillars. Pa 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 pa! Wherever the light pillars passed, tens of thousands of strange insects would swell and explode. Of course, it was only swell. None of them were destroyed due to the difference in the true chi contained within the light pillars. Gotcha! Seeing that the 3 light pillars didn't have any effect, the heavenly being couldn't help but feel angry. He raised his 6 arms at the same time, and dozens of different colored lightning balls appeared out of thin air and landed around him. Rumble! In the huge rumbling sound, the strange insects that pounced on the heavenly being were all killed. And Xiaohua also saw clearly that these strange insects were all swell and explode. Damn it, this is really strange. The heavenly being cursed. His figure flashed, and he landed beside the throne of creation again. He said, even this daddy's method is useless. Then in these 3 continents, where can there be heaven and earth origin energy that these strange insects can't devour? Seeing that the heavenly being's method was also useless, Xiaohua couldn't help but feel a chill in his heart. No one knew better than him that the heavenly being's method came from the immortal realm. The divine ability that he cultivated was from the heavenly being clan. If his method couldn't easily kill these strange insects, then in the entire 3 continents, there really wasn't any method that could easily kill these strange insects. Maybe. Xiaohua thought to himself. Only soul cultivation methods. Thinking about soul cultivation methods, Xiaohua smiled wryly. He had encountered these strange insects when he was condensing his nascent soul in the void. Although he was only a nascent soul at that time, and the strange insects were only a few feet long, he had already used the lightning flash and thunder roll technique, and the lightning bolts activated by the green seal characters were also devoured by the strange insects. Now that Xiaohua's soul cultivation had reached grand completion, he could easily kill these strange insects, and even soul cultivation methods could easily kill them, but he couldn't find the insect's weakness from the root. Let's give it a try. Xiaohua didn't give up. He waved his hand, and the soul cultivator's 3 corpses in thunder fell down. Rumble. The strange insects in the distance were killed, but there were no signs that they would be destroyed upon contact. Clearly, this was not a method that Xiaohua wanted to use. Then, Aoe, Ao Qian, the black-armored Pentaceratops, Methreya Buddha, and the world sovereign all used their own secret techniques to investigate, but unfortunately, it was not ideal. Take a look at my methods. Immortal Emperor Gaochen saw that everyone was somewhat helpless, and finally said, after my immortal palace obtained the 5 Qis origin technique, I also benefited a lot. The 5 Qis of my Confucian cultivation are the foundation of heaven and earth, the foundation of humanity, so it must be different from ordinary heaven and earth origin energy. Your Majesty's words are reasonable. Xiaohua gave him a high hat and said with a smile, I will wait for your Majesty's methods. Humph. Immortal Emperor Gaochen raised his hand and patted the crown on his head. Boom. A 5-colored qi pillar gushed out, and then the 5-colored qi pillar brushed down from the sky, turning into hundreds of thousands of tiny qi pillars. These qi pillars were like needles that pierced into the bodies of the 100,000 strange insects. Whoa. The 5-colored qi entered the bodies of the strange insects, and the bodies of the strange insects immediately swelled up. Moreover, the moment they swelled up, some of them were dark green, some of them were like gray fog, and all of them were seen gushing out. Boom. The bodies of these strange insects swelled up a lot, and then they all exploded. The third place tearfully asks for subscriptions. If the subscriptions exceed 1,000, the immortal world will be opened. Next, I ask for monthly votes. If the monthly votes exceed 100, I will add more chapters. Third, I ask for recommendation support. If the recommendation exceeds 1,000, I will add more chapters. How Xiaohua went against the light to become a saint? It is completely up to everyone. The third place thanks. Chapter 4675. Cuckoo. As the golden-winged great rock spoke, its abdomen suddenly emitted a strange sound. Then, the golden-winged great rock opened its mouth again. Whoa. A demonic aura mixed with purplish gold rushed out, piercing through the void and directly piercing into the shell of a strange insect that was several feet large. The demonic qi pierced into the strange insect's metallic shell like a needle. However, when the strange insect suddenly expanded, and a dark green mist surged out, Xiaohua shook his head. Sure enough, the strange insect instantly grew 10 times larger. The dark green mist swirled around the strange insect for a moment, but the strange insect's body didn't shrink at all. Chirp chirp. The strange insect hissed. Its 2 long hind legs drew a line in the air, and the entire body of the strange insect disappeared. At this moment, a miserable shriek sounded. On the side of the origin formation in the distance, a somewhat absent-minded immortal soldier was split in half. After the miserable shriek, the strange insect that was several dozen feet long loftily appeared on the head of the immortal soldier's corpse. The tip of the strange insect's tail had already reached out from the void and pierced towards the corpse's heart. Damn it! The golden-winged great rock cursed inwardly when he saw that his demonic qi was more effective than the power of the stars and moon. Then, an obscure power of the stars and moon appeared near the strange insect and pierced into it like a sharp awl. Boom! The strange insect was annihilated, leaving not even a corpse behind. Haha, my demon race's demonic qi, and even dragon qi, might be more effective than normal heaven and earth's essence qi against this strange insect. The profound armored pentahorn dragon smiled and said, The rock sage's probing is extremely effective. In the future, when my 1,000 demons sacred grounds demon race and the dragon race of the Dragon Island fight against these strange insects, you must be careful. Amit Ba. The Dipankara archaic Buddha chanted and said softly, Let me give it a try. Following his chanting, the Dipankara archaic Buddha raised his palms. Whoosh! A cluster of red lotus karmic fire flickered, and the power of samsara landed on a few strange insects. Boom! The karmic fire of the red lotus immediately ignited the strange insect's body. Chirp chirp! The strange insect hissed as if it was in pain. Xiaohua and the others were overjoyed when they saw this and were about to take a closer look. However, at this moment, the green mist gushed out of the strange insect's shell again. The red lotus karmic fire was immediately extinguished. However, after the karmic fire was extinguished, it did not disappear. Instead, it turned into a scarlet viscous substance that seeped into the strange insect's shell. The strange insect grew bigger again. Amitba, Amitba. The Dipankara archaic Buddha raised his eyebrows and exclaimed in surprise. He knew that if this strange insect could even devour the power of samsara, the Thunder Sound Temple would have no means of restraining it. Kill. The Thunderbolt Immortal let out a low roar. With a point of his finger, sword-like thunderbolts slayed the strange bug on behalf of the Dipankara archaic Buddha. Xiao Hua looked at the Thunderbolt Immortal strangely. If it was in the past, the Thunderbolt Immortal might consider for himself or the Fortune Gates disciples. However, he would never consider for others. Now, the Thunderbolt Immortal actually thought that the Dipankara archaic Buddha was the Buddha Lord and that it was inappropriate for him to commit murder. Instead, he killed the strange insect on behalf of the Dipankara archaic Buddha. Wasn't this the sign of his awakening? However, after the Thunderbolt Immortal killed the strange insect, he retracted his hand and calmly stood at the side. Would you like to give it a try? Xiao Hua looked at the heavenly man and smiled. Your 3 lights augmenting thunder might be the nemesis of these strange insects. That's right. I'll go take a look. Hearing this, the heavenly man smiled proudly and flew out of the mountain peak. Seeing the heavenly man fly out, a swarm of strange insects immediately pounced on him. These strange insects emitted extremely faint yet powerful ripples that surrounded the heavenly man. The heavenly man's expression didn't change. He roared towards the sky and revealed his 3 heads and 6 arms. Roar. The 3 heads opened their mouths and shot out 3 light pillars. Pa 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 pa. Wherever the light pillars passed, tens of thousands of strange insects would swell and explode. Of course they only swell. Not a single one of them died because of the difference in the true chi contained in the light pillars. Kacha. Seeing that the 3 light pillars had no effect, the heavenly man couldn't help but feel furious. He raised his 6 arms at the same time, and dozens of different colored lightning balls appeared out of thin air and landed around him. Rumble. Amidst loud explosions, the strange insects that pounced on the heavenly man were all killed. Xiao Hua could clearly see that these strange insects had all exploded from the swelled. Motherfucker, this is really strange. The heavenly man cursed. His figure flashed, and he landed next to the throne of creation again. He said, even my method is useless. Then in these 3 continents, where is the origin energy of heaven and earth that these strange insects can't devour? Seeing that the heavenly man's method was also useless, Xiao Hua couldn't help but feel a chill in his heart. No one knew better than him that the heavenly man's method came from the God realm. The divine ability he cultivated was from the heavenly man clan. If his method couldn't easily kill these strange insects, then in the 3 continents, there really wasn't any method that could easily kill these strange insects. Maybe. Xiao Hua thought to himself. Only soul cultivation methods can be used. Thinking of soul cultivation methods, Xiao Hua smiled bitterly. He had encountered these strange insects when he was condensing his nascent soul in the void. Although Xiao Hua was only a nascent soul at that time, and the strange insects were only a few feet long, Xiao Hua had already used the lightning flash and thunder roll technique, and the lightning bolts activated by the green seal characters were also swallowed by the strange insects. Now that Xiao Hua had reached great success in soul cultivation, he could easily kill these strange insects, and even soul cultivation methods could easily kill them, but he couldn't find the insect's weakness from the root. Let's give it a try. Xiao Hua didn't give up. He waved his hand, and the soul cultivator's 3 corpses in thunder fell down. Rumble. The strange insects in the distance were killed, but there were no signs of them being destroyed upon contact. Obviously, this was not Xiao Hua's method. Then, Aoe, Ao Qian, Mystic Armored Pentaceratops, Maitreya Buddha, and the others all used their own secret techniques to investigate, but unfortunately, it was not ideal. Take a look at my method. Immortal Emperor Gaochen looked at the helpless crowd, and finally said, after my immortal palace obtained the 5 energies origin technique, I also benefited greatly. The 5 energies of Confucian cultivators are the foundation of heaven and earth, the foundation of humanity, so it must be different from ordinary heaven and earth origin energy. Your Majesty's words are reasonable. Xiao Hua flattered him and said with a smile, I will wait for your Majesty's method. Humph. Immortal Emperor Gaochen raised his hand and patted the crown on his head. Boom. A 5-colored energy pillar gushed out. Then, The five-colored energy pillar brushed down from the sky and turned into hundreds of thousands of tiny energy pillars. These energy pillars were like needles that pierced into the bodies of the strange insects. When the five-colored energy entered the bodies of the strange insects, the bodies of the strange insects immediately swelled up. Moreover, the moment they swelled up, some were dark green, some were like gray fog, and some were like gray fog. Boom! The bodies of these strange insects swelled up a lot, and then they all exploded. Sigh. Xueqi's eyes originally lit up, but the joy immediately disappeared. He understood in his heart that even though Immortal Emperor Go Chen condensed the 5-Chi's origin Qi pillar to a very fine degree, it was still the terrifying power condensed within the Qi needle that was able to explode the strange insect, and not the 5-colored true Qi. Your Majesty, Xueqi said, what I thought was just a whimsical thought. How could there be different types of energy within the same realm? This matter. Let's not talk about it anymore. How about this? Let's see how the strength of these strange insects is distributed. Immortal Emperor Gao Chen nodded and replied, I also feel that using different types of energy to kill these strange insects is a bit unimaginable and too difficult. We should use normal methods. As for the difference in strength that Master Xueqi mentioned, the Sun family and the others already had some judgment. Sun Jian, come over and tell us. Yes, Your Majesty. Sun Jian received the order and flew over. He bowed and said, Seniors, according to what junior and junior subordinates found out, these strange insects' strength should be divided according to the size of their bodies. Currently, the insects besieging the Jade Lake are mostly several feet long. The strength of these strange insects is around the 5th stage of the origin energy of our 3 continents. Hiss. When the golden-winged rock heard this, he couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air and said in shock, Sun Jianyu, you're not wrong, right? These several feet-long strange insects have the strength of our demon race's star-plucking realm? All right, Rock Sage knows. It's exactly like this. Sun Jian turned to the golden-winged rock and said respectfully, back then, when Junior's origin energy was at the lower stage of the 5th stage, I encountered a several feet-long strange insect. At that time, Junior was almost unable to defeat that strange insect. How can this be? The mystic armored Pentaceratops was also surprised. So many strange insects. If they were placed in the 1,000 demons sacred realm, wouldn't our demon race be defeated? Not only that. Sun Jian said again, these strange insects advance by devouring all kinds of energy. The time it takes to advance is extremely short. As long as the energy doesn't make the strange insects explode, these strange insects can advance. Moreover, using normal methods. Even if the strange insects are torn apart, these torn parts can rely on the energy they devour to recover into several strange insects. What about the other sizes? Xueqi had already expected this, but he still asked in a low voice. Sun Jian replied, a foot long is an inch long. Strange insects several inches long have the strength of a 4th stage origin energy. Strange insects less than an inch long are just black dots, and these black dots, Junior has also tested, they have the strength of a 2nd or 3rd stage origin energy. An army of hundreds of millions of 2nd stage origin energy. Thinking about the densely packed black dots he saw in the space, Xueqi's heart turned cold. He thought with some despair even if all of my Fortune Gate's disciples come out, even if all of my Fortune Gate's 9 elders come out together, even if all of the 3 continents human race and demonic beast race, the 4 seas dragon race and sea tribe, I'm afraid they still won't be able to exterminate this world-destroying insect army. How could Immortal Emperor Gao Chen and the others not know about Xueqi's thoughts? The various Supremes' expressions changed again. Sun Jian looked at Xueqi's gloomy face and said, a foot long is a foot long. Strange insects several feet long have the strength of a 6th stage origin energy. Strange insects several hundred feet long have the strength of a 7th stage origin energy. As for 1,000 feet long and 1,000 feet long strange insects, Junior has not seen them, so I do not dare to make a judgment. So what if they are 1,000 feet long and 1,000 feet long strange insects? Dongfang Qianghao sneered. They are nothing more than 8th or 9th stage origin energy. Could there be a 10,000 feet long strange insect? Xueqi looked at Dongfang Qianghao and said with a smile, Dongfang family head, aren't you too optimistic? Previously, we didn't know how these strange insects advanced. We thought that they cultivated the same way as us, and that every time they advanced, there would only be 1 in 10,000. Thus, when we reached the higher levels, there were fewer and fewer of them. But now, we understand that these strange insects advance by devouring true energy, and there are no bottlenecks during their advancement. In other words, as long as there is enough true energy, every black dot can advance to 1,000 feet long. They can become monsters that can stand shoulder to shoulder with us 9th stage origin energy experts. How is that possible? Dongfang Qianghao still shook his head and said in disbelief, "These strange insects are from outside the realm, but the place they came from is at most similar to the realm of our 3 continents. This old man does not believe that a realm can have countless experts that have reached the peak of that realm." Just as Dongfang Qianghao was shaking his head, a cold wind appeared out of nowhere, and an indescribable aura of destruction came from somewhere in the void. Even someone as strong as Xiaohua could not help but tremble. "Not good." Thunderbolt Immortal roared, "It seems like something powerful is coming." Xiaohua stood up and took out the Kunlun mirror without hesitation, and said to Princess Xixia, "Xixia, return to the Kunlun Immortal realm and hide for a while." "Okay." Princess Xixia nodded, but said, however, Bai An is at the Immortal Palace. You have to think of a way to ensure her safety. "Empress." Xiaohua thought and hurriedly transmitted, "Where is Bai An? I will let Thunderbolt Immortal bring her back." Bai An is with Qing Qing and Miao Miao. The East Sea Empress expression also changed slightly, and her eyes flashed with a clear light as she looked around and answered casually. Hearing the 2 words Qing Qing, Xiaohua gritted his teeth and glared at the East Sea Empress, then put Princess Xixia into the space. It was also at this moment that a dark ray of light suddenly appeared in the sky. With a swoosh, it struck the mountain where the Immortal Palace was located. This ray of light came too suddenly. Even though Immortal Emperor Gaochen and the East Sea Empress were on high alert, they still couldn't guard against it. Boom! Where the light landed, there was a huge explosion, and the scroll seemed to be torn apart by a giant hand. Layer upon layer of cracks, the inscriptions on the armor mixed with a 5-colored light gushed out from the cracks. GG! With an ear-piercing screech, a huge mouth stretched out from the void, and swallowed the light and the inscriptions on the armor. Then, 2 pitch-black eyes appeared in the sky, and finally, a strange insect that was several thousand feet long, like a huge flying boat, slowly appeared. The moment the strange insect appeared, a powerful aura overflowed from its body, and filled the entire Jade Lake. Its 3,000 feet long hind legs slightly slashed in the air, and the broken peony bushes were instantly cut in half. Seeing the strange insect devouring the scroll mountain with a caw-caw sound, Xiaohua suddenly came to a realization. Thinking of the vision he saw when he entered this space, he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Damn it, this Xiao understands now. This Lingyun Side Palace did not originally exist in this space. It was because Immortal Emperor Go Chan wanted to hold the Jade Lake gathering here that he created this space to store the Lingyun Side Palace. Xian also made it clear that the Jade Lake was only an immortal imperial treasure controlled by the Imperial Empress, and it also needed to absorb the righteous energy in this place. The 5-colored scene I saw when I entered was the scene of the Jade Lake and the Lingyun Side Palace absorbing the righteous energy from the void. These strange insects love to eat true energy, and the righteous energy in this space is naturally their favorite food. It is also because of the Jade Lake gathering that these strange insects were attracted here. Kill. Seeing the strange insect swallow the scroll mountain and the entire space trembling, Heavenly King Qingyu did not dare to be careless and quickly ordered the soldiers to attack. Unfortunately, before he could finish his words, a chill ran down his spine. He did not hold any hope as his body swayed and disappeared into thin air. Pluff! The moment his body disappeared, a huge tail appeared in the distance, and it instantly shattered the entire image. Ah! A few thousand feet away, Heavenly King Qingyu screamed as he flew out from the void. His armor had been shattered, and there was even blood flowing from his mouth and nose. The strange insect had struck the phantom, and even Heavenly King Qingyu had been injured. Heavenly King Qingyu managed to dodge the attack, but the immortal soldiers and generals not far away were not so lucky. The tail pierced through Heavenly King Qingyu's illusory figure and charged into the origin formation formed by the immortal soldiers and generals. The origin formation collapsed upon contact, and thousands of immortal soldiers were instantly killed. Moreover, after the soldiers were killed, their bodies immediately withered. Humph! Immortal Emperor Go Chen was sitting on his golden throne. He coldly scowled and suddenly slammed his golden throne. Boom! The golden throne emitted layers of golden light and flew straight up into the sky. Dang! The vast void bell that had disappeared earlier reappeared. With a loud bang, a shadow of several thousand feet in size fell down from the sky. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The shadow completely covered the body of the strange insect and issued loud explosions. The void where the strange insect was completely shattered by the sound of the bell. The body of the strange insect was also destroyed inch by inch and turned into nothingness. Looking at the almost chaotic space, Immortal Emperor Go Chen proudly said, "A 9th-level origin energy insect. Is only a..." Boom! Before he could finish speaking, a loud explosion came from behind him. The golden throne that Immortal Emperor Go Chen was sitting on was hit by a huge black tail. The powerful force and the sharpness of the tail that could pierce through the laws of space immediately flipped Immortal Emperor Go Chen and his golden throne over. No way, right? Not to mention Xiao Hua's group. Even Immortal Emperor Go Chen himself was shocked. The body of the strange insect that was killed by the vast void bell appeared behind Immortal Emperor Go Chen's back. Dong! At this time, the vast void bell let out another loud bang. Immortal Emperor Go Chen looked up in horror, and saw that the back leg of the strange insect that was like a guillotine had disappeared into the void. It actually went through the maze of the Jade Lake and struck the vast void bell. Inside the bell, Immortal Emperor Go Chen could clearly see that a deep crack was carved into the surface of the vast void bell. The inscriptions on the bell were split into 2 halves. Damn it! Immortal Emperor Go Chen's heart ached. He cursed and quickly hid the vast void bell into the depths of the origin formation. Then, he reached out and grabbed the Emperor's sword at his waist. However, he only held it for a moment before letting it go. He knew that the Emperor's sword was extremely powerful because it contained the fate of the human race, the fate of the Confucian cultivators. This fate was useful against the human race and the demon race. However, if it was used against the strange insect, it might not be effective. Immortal Emperor Go Chen pondered for a while and looked at the Eastern Ocean Queen. The Eastern Ocean Queen understood his intention. The 2 of them slapped the phantom of the golden throne at the same time. Boom! 2 rays of golden light shot out from the golden throne. Just like how it killed Xueqi, the golden light condensed into the phantom of the immortal slaying platform in the sky. Boom! When the immortal slaying platform transformed into 100,000 feet long radiance and descended, everyone held their breaths and waited for the might of this slash. Puff! The guillotine's radiance and shadow fell on the strange insect's body. The strange insect's body was immediately flattened and couldn't resist at all. Excellent! The Dipankara archaic Buddha chanted, thinking that the strange insect had been killed. Xiao Hua squinted his eyes and reminded, World Lord, don't forget that some of these strange insects' bodies are extremely hard, while some of them are especially soft and tough. Sure enough, although the strange insect was slashed into 2 halves by the immortal slaying platform's guillotine, just like how Xiao Hua's wishful rod struck the strange insect, its tough body couldn't be broken into 2 halves. Go! The Eastern Ocean Queen glanced at Immortal Emperor Go Chen. The 2 of them scolded at the same time. One of them spat out a mouthful of dragon-shaped true qi, while the other spat out a mouthful of phoenix-shaped true qi. When these 2 true qis fell on the immortal slaying platform's phantom, the phantom became even more solid. Bam! Finally, where the guillotine landed, the huge strange insect was slashed into 2 halves. Chirp chirp. After the strange insect was slashed apart, it was different from the other strange insects. It rolled around in mid-air as if it was in pain. I'll lend you a hand, Your Majesty. Seeing this, Xiao Hua's heart skipped a beat. He slapped the top of his head, and a huge hand formed by tricolored thunderbolts descended, grabbing the other half of the strange insect. This thunderbolt hand was slightly different from the one Xiao Hua had used previously. When this hand descended, it instantly sank into the strange insect's body. Boom! Just as gray mist surged out from the other half of the strange insect's body, its body only expanded by 30% before it began to explode. Aoe understood what was going on. He smiled and said, Then I'll lend you a hand, Your Majesty. As he spoke, Aoe chanted the heavenly dragon art. Balls of light the size of a wicker basket appeared outside the other half of the strange insect's body, revolving around it like fireflies. Fall. As Aoe chanted a mantra, all the balls of light fell into the other half of the strange insect's body. As expected, the other half of the strange insect's body exploded as well. Namo Mithreya. Good. Namo Methreya clasped his palms together and said, I understand. This strange insect might have the strength of a 9th grade essence force. Our 3 continents don't have any spiritual items that can make it explode. However, if it's cut into 2 or even 4 halves, and then take advantage of the fact that it hasn't recovered, we can still use a spiritual item of an 8th grade essence force to make it explode. That's right. Namo Methreya is right. Xueqi said with a smile. Moreover, this agreement is only for low-grade strange insects. Just as Xueqi finished speaking, his expression suddenly changed. He didn't have time to remind anyone. With a whoosh, he disappeared from the throne of creation. Of course, at the same time that he disappeared, the heavenly being and the Thunderbolt spiritual master also disappeared. On the entire Dao Sex Lightning Mountain, only the throne of creation and the Grand Mist Ancestor, who was sitting on the black and white praying mat beside it, were left. The Grand Mist Ancestor naturally noticed Xueqi's strange movements. He knew that something was wrong, but before he could teleport, a huge black shadow blocked the entire mountain peak. An inexplicable confinement force sealed the space. Boom. 2 pitch-black blade lights slashed down from the sky. Not good. Sensing the aura of death under the blade lights, the Grand Mist Ancestor cursed inwardly. In his heart, he hated Xueqi to the bone. He already firmly believed that Xueqi deliberately didn't remind him. The Grand Mist Ancestor remained motionless as he formed a series of seals with his hands. Black and white halos appeared in the space around him, and the moment these halos appeared, the Grand Mist Ancestor's 2 scythe-like hind legs slashed down. Swoosh! One of the hind legs landed on the throne of creation. The entire throne emitted lightning, blocking the light shadow. However, the throne was also lifted off the lightning mountain by the hind legs and fell into the jade lake below the mountain peak. As for the other hind leg, it naturally slashed into the black and white halo around the Grand Mist Ancestor. However, the strange thing was that the black and white halo was split in half. After the light shadow passed, the black and white halos merged back together. The Grand Mist Ancestor was standing inside the halo, unharmed. Of course, the Grand Mist Ancestor did not dare to stay for long after dodging the calamity. His figure flashed, and with a flash of black and white light, he forcefully broke through the space shackles and teleported to another place. At this time, a strange insect that was even more ferocious than the previous one slowly appeared in the sky south of the Jade Lake. Damn it. Xueqi, Tianran, and Lightning Taoist appeared high in the sky above the Jade Lake. The 3 of them surrounded the strange insect, and Xueqi couldn't help cursing inwardly when he sensed the mysterious aura emitted by the strange insect. This Xiao boasts that his luck is extremely good, but every time this Xiao comes across a strange insect, how bad is this Xiao's luck? Let's not talk about it previously. This Xiao is now a Taoist Gates Grand Ascension stage expert, standing at the peak of the 3 continents. Why does this strange insect seem to be more powerful than this Xiao? As for the strange insect, it ignored Xueqi and the Grand Mist Ancestor's attempt to escape after striking down the Throne of Fortune. Instead, it waved its saw-like tentacles again. The 2 tentacles were sharper than any magic treasure, and they landed on the Lightning Mountain peak. In an instant, the entire mountain peak collapsed. Then, the strange insect opened its mouth and swallowed the collapsed mountain peak. No! Xueqi's eyes narrowed as he watched the huge mountain disappear at a speed visible to the naked eye. He said in a low voice, "We can't let this strange insect swallow anymore. This strange insect's strength has already reached the 9th grade of origin energy. If it evolves again, who in the 3 continents can subdue it?" Fellow Taoists. With a plan in mind, Xueqi hurriedly said, "Wait until I execute a divine ability to destroy this strange insect, then you 2 fellow Taoists kill it." Before Tianran and the Lightning Taoist could reply, boom boom boom. A series of sounds came from the void around the Jade Lake. Several blade-like black shadows flashed through the air and landed on the Buddhist lotus, scroll, and other mountain peaks. There was even a huge tail that stretched out from the Jade Lake. Damn it! The golden-winged Great Pung roared as its body flashed with the brilliance of the moon and stars. Its sharp claws attacked the newly appeared strange insect. Namo Methreya Buddha. The world sovereign didn't dare to be careless. He formed a Buddhist mudra with both hands and channeled the power of faith. It turned into countless heavenly flowers and Buddhist light balls to stop another strange insect. Immortal Emperor Go Chen, the East Sea Empress, Aoe, and Ao Chen didn't stop. They used their divine abilities to deal with the strange insects that were tens of thousands of feet long. In just a moment, the entire Jade Lake was in chaos. Everything was crushed by the strange insects. Even the previously hidden outline of the Lingyun Side Palace was revealed in the void. Moreover, this outline had been shattered long ago. Clearly, it was destroyed by several strange insects that were tens of thousands of feet long. Not only that, these strange insects were too powerful. Wherever they went, nothing remained. Every time they waved their tentacles and hind legs, they could cut through the void. Wherever they cut through, the immortal soldiers and generals were easily killed. There was no way to avoid them. Although Sun Jian's strength hadn't reached the 9th grade of essence energy, he had the void-seeing eye. Therefore, he had already opened the void-seeing eye between his eyebrows and carefully observed the changes in the surrounding space. Of course, his void-seeing eye wasn't enough to completely detect the traces of the strange insects. However, this technique alone was enough to save his life. Now, seeing that even the sovereigns were panicking, he didn't hesitate to give the order. Retreat. Generals, retreat from the Lingyun Side Palace. This was true monarch Qing Yuan. Even Heavenly King Qing Yu didn't dare to give such an order in the Jade Lake gathering. When the immortal soldiers and generals heard this order, they were all relieved. They hurriedly used their divine abilities to teleport out. When Heavenly King Qing Yu saw this, he hurriedly shouted, "Generals, maintain the formation and retreat. These strange insects came from the void. If you teleport out, you'll encounter even more strange insects." When the immortal soldiers and generals heard this, they were all alarmed. They hurriedly got into a battle formation and slowly flew out. It wasn't that they hadn't experienced blood formations on the battlefield before. However, when faced with such cruel and cold-blooded insects, they couldn't help but panic. Xiaohua didn't have the time to use the delusion breaker eye to see how many strange insects there were in the void. This was because it was completely meaningless. After he gave the order to the celestial being and the lightning immortal, he immediately waved his hands. Kacha! Layers of thunder mist appeared in the sky. Countless vital qi of heaven and earth turned into crystals and fell into it. Chirp chirp. When Xiaohua activated his magic power, it immediately attracted the attention of several strange insects. Other than the strange insects that were devouring the lightning mountain, the others also stopped devouring. They raised their huge heads, and a strange color appeared in their black eyes. Xiaohua didn't dare to be the slightest bit negligent. He used the unstoppable thunder. 5 Qi righteous thunder, 9 heavens divine thunder, 3 corpses yin thunder, Shenming demonic thunder, and triple light amplifying thunder mixed together to form a huge lightning hand. It brought with it a kind of heaven and earth will and suddenly fell down. When the strange insect saw this, it didn't know how to dodge at all. It let out a chirp-chirp sound. This chirp sounded as if it was excited. Wherever the sound passed, the space began to collapse. Then, the strange insect's legs kicked, and it pounced towards the lightning hand. Under the lightning hand, the power of thunder and lightning originally sealed the space within 10,000 feet. However, this sealed space seemed to be nothing in the eyes of the strange insect. In a moment, it had already rushed under the lightning hand. However, the strange insect seemed to know the power of the lightning hand. Its 2 tentacles, 1 hind leg, and the tip of its tail all stretched out. They entered the void from 4 directions and attacked the lightning hand. Xiaohua's lightning hand was now extremely powerful. There were few cultivators in the 3 continents who could withstand it. Even the strange insect was no exception. Rumble. The lightning hand fell. Not only did it shatter the space, but even the strange insect's tentacles, hind leg, and tail were also beaten dry. When the lightning hand fell on the strange insect's body, the strange insect's body first emitted a strange luster as if it was resisting. However, after a few breaths, the entire body immediately became incomparably soft and quickly collapsed. It seemed that the strange insect was unable to resist the lightning hand. Similar to the attack of immortal Emperor Go Chen's golden throne, the lightning hand suddenly crushed the strange insect's body. Humph! Xiaohua already knew the strange insect's tricks like the back of his hand. Seeing that the strange insect's body had reached its limit, he coldly snorted. His gaze slightly swept over the distant Grand Mist ancestor, who was quietly watching him display his techniques in the sky. His hand seals slightly changed. Swoosh! The fury of thunder, which had been hidden inside the lightning hand since a long time ago, was activated. A hidden blade of lightning descended from the lightning hand. Swoosh! The fury of thunder was indeed formidable. As soon as it appeared, it immediately split the shriveled strange insect into two halves. GG. Just like before, the strange insect rolled and hissed as it fell towards the Jade Lake's waves. It seemed like it wanted to swallow the waves. Kill. Similarly, Tian Ran and Lightning Immortal did not hesitate. Just as Xiao Hua was about to make a move, both of them attacked at the same time. Boom boom. As expected, the 1,000-feet-long strange insect that was split into two halves was easily killed by the two Fortune Gate Masters. However, whether it was Xiao Hua, Tian Ran, or Lightning Immortal, all three of them felt heavy in their hearts. They did not feel the joy of victory, nor did they feel the guilt of winning with superior numbers. Instead, they raised their heads to look at the other sect's venerables fighting with the strange insects. After a short while, Xiao Hua somewhat understood. Although these strange insects had the strength of 9th grade origin energy, they had not reached the peak of 9th grade origin energy. At most, they were only at the mid-level of 9th grade origin energy. Logically speaking, mid-level 9th grade origin energy shouldn't be a match for the other sect's venerables. They should be able to kill them easily. However, the reason why the three continents' cultivators, whether it was the human race, demonic beast race or dragon race, was able to reach the peak of 9th grade origin energy was because they had a breakthrough in the space law. There was no need to talk about the human race. Confucian cultivators ascended with the red clouds, Tao sects ascended with the white sun, and Buddhist sects were guided by the heavens. The demonic beast race and dragon race both broke through the void and relied on the space law. Among Xiao Hua's current abilities, there were many times where he didn't need to use any magic spells. As long as he used the space law, he could produce effects that were more powerful than ordinary magic spells. But today, the various sects' venerables were facing the world-destroying strange insects. These strange insects came from the void and fed on the space law. Previously, when Immortal Emperor Go Chen activated the vast void bell, the strange insects also collapsed along with the space. Moreover, the strange insects' bodies did not suffer any damage. Therefore, when facing these strange insects, the various sects' venerables could only use limited methods. They also couldn't reveal too much of their peak 9th grade origin energy. Of course, venerables were venerables after all. Although there were more than 10,000 feet of strange insects, as long as they put in some effort, these strange insects would be wiped out in the time it took to brew a cup of tea. At this moment, the entire Jade Lake was in a mess. It was no longer as beautiful as before. There were still many strange insects flying around wantonly in the space. Although the Lingyun Side Palace did not collapse, its tattered state made Immortal Emperor Go Chen feel ashamed and angry. Damn it! Seeing that everyone was silent, the golden-winged great rock shouted first before anyone could speak. We were discussing how to kill the strange insect here, and this strange insect gave us a head-on blow. If I didn't know that these strange insects came here from the Lingyun Side Palace's pure and noble energy, I would have suspected that these strange insects got the news beforehand and formed a team to launch a surprise attack. At this point, the golden-winged great rock suddenly stopped. His eyes flashed with a golden light as he looked at the various venerables above the Jade Lake in disbelief. He seemed to have thought of something. Sage Rock. Immortal Emperor Go Chen said, "You're a great sage of the demon clan. Do you think these strange insects have a leader?" The golden-winged great rock seemed to have understood and nodded. There's no need to talk about this. Not to mention the sky-devouring demon clan, even the featherless demon clan, as long as there are groups of them. We'll have a leader. Of course, I'm from the Flying Feather clan, so I don't know the exact situation of the insect clan. In the Thousand Demons Sacred Realm, there has never been a great sage of the insect clan who could enter the Great Sage Palace. As for the Featherless Demon Clan and the Awakening of Intelligence, maybe there was one. The golden-winged great rock's tone was uncertain. After all, no matter where in the three continents, the insect clan was the weakest. As for the strange insects, most of their intelligence was weak and did not know how to cultivate, so it was difficult for them to Featherless Demon Clan and the Awakening of Intelligence. Insect clan? Hearing this, Xiao Hua's heart skipped a beat. He immediately thought of the spiritual realm in the space and the 10,000 demons realm outside the three continents. Of course, this saint's knowledge is limited to the 1,000 demons sacred realm. These world-destroying strange insects come from outside the realm, and their strength is close to the peak of the 3 continents. Perhaps there will be a leader? The golden-winged great rock added another perhaps. That's impossible. The Pentaceratops shook its head. The demon clan that can featherless demon clan and the awakening of intelligence must have spiritual intelligence, just like how Buddhist disciples need the root of wisdom. Look at these strange insects, they are all fearless of death. How can they have any spiritual intelligence? Just now, even those strange insects that have reached the 9th level of essence power seem to only have vital chi in their eyes. They didn't dodge much when facing attacks. Hiss. Hearing this, Xueqi suddenly sucked in a breath of cold air as if he had a toothache. The scene of him fighting with the 2 strange insects immediately appeared in his mind. At that time, the strange insects were not as clumsy and ignorant as they were now. At that time, the strange insects were so ferocious and agile. Not good. Xueqi hurriedly shouted. These strange insects must have a leader. Moreover, the spiritual intelligence of this leader may not be any worse than mine. Chapter 46-76. How is that possible? Dongfeng Qianghao asked curiously. Master Shaolei, what do you mean by that? Xueqi hurriedly recounted his encounter with the 2 strange insects. In the end, he said, from what I've seen, these strange insects must have evolved recently. They devoured too much true energy and advanced too quickly. Not only are they unable to adapt to their bodies, but their intelligence is also unable to match their strength. That's why they didn't have much strength to retaliate against us. Also, take a look again. There aren't many bugs that are 100 feet or 1,000 feet between the bugs that are tens of feet long and the bugs that are tens of thousands of feet long. It must be because the king of strange bugs that hasn't shown up yet sensed our strength. That's why it gave up on the mid-sized bugs and directly sent the bugs that are tens of thousands of feet long. Taoist Xiao, you mean? The Grand Mist ancestor was also dumbfounded. He said in shock, just now, these strange insects with strength of 9th level origin energy. We're just probing our strength? Xueqi's gaze swept across the various sovereigns and finally landed on the Grand Mist ancestor. He said word by word, that's what I think. I hope I'm wrong. Chirp chirp. Suddenly, the soft cries of a strange insect rang out. Although it was soft and insignificant compared to the cries of insects in the entire space, it was clearly heard by all the sovereigns of the various sections. Even the innate divine restriction outside Xueqi's Niwan palace emitted waves of golden light. King of strange insects? Xueqi turned pale with fright and hurriedly looked towards the direction of the sound. However, even with Xueqi's strength, he couldn't find the direction of the king of strange insects in front of these strange insects. However, there was no need for Xueqi to search for it. After the chirping of the insects, a loud boom sounded out from above everyone's heads. Xueqi raised his head to look, only to see that the roof of the Lingyun side hall, which was like the dome of heaven, had already been split open. A seemingly small but abnormally sharp tentacle fell from the dome of heaven. Wherever the tentacle fell, space collapsed. All the heaven and earth origin energy, righteous chi, and other things were split in half. Even the light figure in space wasn't spared. Damn it! Immortal Emperor Go Chen was the first to be enraged. He glanced at the East Sea Empress and raised his hand to slap the phantom of the Golden Throne. The East Sea Empress was also displeased. She also activated the Golden Throne. The phantom of the immortal slaying platform appeared again and flew towards the saw-like tentacles. Kacha! The scythe of the immortal punishment platform slammed into the tentacle. After layers of space shattered, the tentacle also broke inch by inch. However, what shocked Immortal Emperor Go Chen was that the phantom of the immortal punishment platform also disappeared under the tentacle. What? What is the king of strange insects' strength? Xueqi was also the immortal punishment platform, Immortal Emperor Go Chen's chi, the king of 10th level origin energy, the heavens, and the king can't it. It's a 10th level origin energy origin energy origin? Dongz's he had already prepared he. This is the it. Dongfeng Qianghao had long been on guard. He saw the shadow falling from the sky, but it did not seem to have any sealing power. It was sharp and fast. How could he not know that it was one of the monster insect king's hind legs? Dongfeng Qianghao didn't hesitate at all. He waved his hand and the Wuji apricot yellow flag fluttered in the air. As the innate Wuji flags fluttered in the air, golden lotuses gushed out and protected the space around him. Poof poof poof. The moment the lotuses appeared, the void began to explode. The golden lotuses in the sky were also shattered. How is this possible? Xueqi's heart was in his throat as he thought to himself, if the innate 5-element flags can't stop the king of strange insects, then what else can? Luckily, the Monster King only managed to destroy one of the 10 waves of golden lotuses. Then, its sharp, pitch-black hind legs were revealed in the sky. The sharp leg that could easily split a mountain flashed a few times and disappeared into the void. Thank goodness. Xueqi didn't know if he was rejoicing for himself, Dongfeng Qianghao, or the beings of the 3 continents. He couldn't help but pat his chest. When Xueqi raised his hand, extreme fear rose from the bottom of his heart. He couldn't help but lower his head to look at the jade pool. Sii. When Xueqi saw the scene inside the jade lake, he turned pale with fright. The clear jade pool was covered by a layer of darkness. This layer of darkness wasn't a single piece. Instead, it was made up of hundreds or even thousands of small pieces of darkness. It was just like how the land of Lingyun's side palace was surrounded by crisscrossing paths. In these small pitch-black pieces, there was a kind of extreme coldness and ruthlessness, and in this pitch-black darkness, Xueqi saw thousands of his own reflections. The king of strange insects' eyes. Xueqi immediately understood. Without hesitation, he moved his hands, and a thunderous hand appeared out of thin air and grabbed at the jade pool. The moment the thunderous hand appeared, the entire jade pool was imprisoned. Lightning mixed with the power of heaven and earth rushed toward the king of strange insects. However, to Xueqi's surprise, before the thunderous hand landed, the king of strange insects' eyes suddenly disappeared. The jade pool was still the jade pool, and the jade pool was still the jade pool. Damn it! Xueqi cussed in his heart. He slapped his forehead and opened his delusion breaker Dharma eye to look around. At this moment, the void was filled with black dots of various sizes. These black dots ranged from the size of ink dots to the size of hundreds of feet. They were all flying around like locusts. Although Xueqi could see clearly, it was impossible to find the black dots that were tens of thousands of feet large among these black dots. Xueqi was about to close his delusion breaker Dharma eye. Whoosh! Suddenly, a tail stinger that looked like a meteor streaked across the darkness and stabbed at a silver-white dragon body. Xueqi naturally knew that the silver-white dragon body belonged to Ao Qian, the Lord of the Eastern Sea. He hurriedly transmitted a message to warn him, but at this moment, a dragon throne, 2 golden thrones, and 2 pillars of light appeared in his delusion breaker Dharma eye. 2 dragon bodies flashed and rushed into the black dots. Obviously, Immortal Emperor Gaochen and the others had also discovered the king of strange insects' tracks. When Xueqi saw that the supreme beings of the various sects had already begun to besiege him, he stopped transmitting his voice. However, just as he was about to close his Dharma eye, a blurry shadow suddenly flashed in another direction. Another king of strange insects? Xueqi shuddered and hurriedly looked in that direction. Unfortunately, the shadow was nowhere to be seen. Could it be that these 2 king of strange insects, one in the light and the other in the dark, are also plotting against us? The more Xueqi thought about it, the more likely it seemed. He didn't dare to transmit his message to Immortal Emperor Gaochen and the others, fearing that the 2 king of strange insects would have some special spatial divine ability that could allow them to hear him. He only warned Celestial Being and the Lightning Immortal in his mind before he slightly narrowed his delusion breaker Dharma eye, and pretended to attack the king of strange insects from all sides as he lunged out of the jade lake. At this moment, Ao Qian had already summoned the dragon throne, which turned into a golden dragon and blocked the tip of the king of strange insects' tail. Immortal Emperor Gaochen and the others used their divine abilities to attack the king of strange insects' shell. Swoosh! While Xueqi condensed a thunderous hand to grab the king of strange insects in the distant void, a black shadow as big as a mountain rushed out from the void in another direction of Ao Qian. It was the other king of strange insects that was hiding in the dark using its hind leg to attack Ao Qian's dragon body. The moment the hind leg appeared, Ao Qian's soul left his body. He roared and hurriedly used his dragon throne to block the attack. Unfortunately, the dragon avatar was already pierced by the king of strange insects' tail. How could he move the dragon avatar away? Helpless, Ao Qian swung his dragon tail in an attempt to use the toughness of his dragon body to break the King of Strange Insects' leg from the side. Just as Ao Qian's plan started, the King of Strange Insects' leg immediately changed direction and slashed towards Ao Qian's dragon tail. Don't panic, fellow immortal Ao. I'll help you. Celestial Being and the Lightning Immortal suddenly turned around. One wielded a lightning spear while the other spat out a tricolored beam to attack the other King of Strange Insects' leg. Looking at Xueqi again, he didn't even teleport. Instead, lightning surged around his body and formed layers of lightning bolts. He actually executed the lightning escape technique and pounced at the other monster king in the void with lightning speed. Xueqi's actions were very strange and extremely fast. Not to mention the monarch, even immortal Emperor Go Chen's group didn't notice anything. In the blink of an eye, before Celestial Being could stop the King of Strange Insects' leg, Xueqi had already reached high up in the sky, right at the base of the King of Strange Insects' leg. Then, without waiting for the King of Strange Insects to resist, Xueqi opened his mouth and spat out a strand of six-colored flame that quickly entered the King of Strange Insects' body. When Xueqi saw the six-colored spirit fire entering the Strange Insect King's body, he did not stop and was immediately sent flying again. Boom, boom, boom. Just as Xueqi left, the space around him began to boil. Flames soared into the sky, and another monster bug king that was tens of thousands of feet long appeared in the void with six-colored flames surging around its body. Following the flames, the monster bug king's body rapidly expanded and easily broke through the barrier of 100,000 feet. The King of Strange Insects' leg that was meant to kill Ao Qian suddenly caught fire and became gigantic. As the monster insect king's body expanded, a gray mist rose from the fire, as if it was trying to put out the fire. However, the gray mist didn't extinguish the flames. Instead, it showed signs of being ignited. At the same time, the King of Strange Insects' body showed no signs of stopping expanding. All right. Seeing that the strange bug king's reaction was similar to that of the first void bug, Xueqi was greatly reassured. He began to plan how he could take the opportunity to eliminate the other strange bug king. However, in just a few moments, the strange bug king's body, which had been expanding all this time, suddenly emitted a strange fluctuation, and it actually stopped. Then, it strangely shrank again until it was less than 10,000 meters. Xueqi's heart couldn't help but tighten again. Boom! The King of Strange Insects' body only shrank for a few breaths before it expanded uncontrollably again. Phew! Xueqi heaved a sigh of relief again. Chirp chirp. Seeing that the King of Strange Insects' body was becoming transparent and was about to explode, the King of Strange Insects hissed a few times. The pitch-black patches on its body began to condense and turn into fine lines. From the fine lines, wisps of green mist mixed with golden threads slowly surged out. As soon as the mist and the golden threads came out, the King of Strange Insects' body immediately dimmed. The King of Strange Insects' body began to shrink again, but it shrank at a much slower speed than before. At this moment, the King of Strange Insects opened its mouth to devour the chi of heaven and earth in the space, causing the space to gradually collapse. As the space collapsed, a destructive aura spread out from the King of Strange Worm's body in all directions like threads and surging tides. Deformed black fine lines appeared in the aura like hairs, and the indescribable laws of heaven and earth abruptly emerged from the fine lines of the haired. Oh no! Xueqi was shocked to see this. How could he not know that the King of Strange Insects had begun to devour his King of Strange Insects' six-colored spiritual fire and was about to evolve? He could already fend off many of the King of Strange Insects' attacks. If it evolved, it would truly become a King of Strange Insects with 10th grade origin energy. Xueqi did not know what would happen after the King of Strange Insects evolved. He did not know if the laws of the three continents would restrict its strength, but he definitely did not want to see the King of Strange Insects evolve. He did not dare to take the risk. Kill! Xueqi roared furiously and waved his hands. He no longer held back and unleashed the wrath of thunder. The lightning that looked like the immortal slaying platform fell madly on the King of Strange Insects. However, when the lightning came into contact with the King of Strange Insects' body, a strange law of space flashed out from the golden threads of the green mist. The lightning immediately fell into the void when it came into contact with the formation. It could not kill the King of Strange Insects at all. What should I do? What should I do? Xueqi was shocked. He was like a headless fly, scratching his ears and cheeks in confusion. Ao Shang, Ao Shang. Xueqi could not help but think of Ao Shang. This was because Xiao Hua had only encountered strange insects twice and killed them twice. The first time was with the spiritual fire, and the second time was with Ao Shang's long bay. Thinking of this, Xiao Hua did not care that Ao Shang was cultivating in seclusion. He shouted, "Fellow celestial being, fellow thunder Taoist, the two of you use your divine abilities and do your best to disturb the king of strange insects' advancement and attract its attention." Yes. Celestial being and lightning Taoist received the order and used their divine abilities. Lightning and light pillars descended and entangled with the king of strange insects. AOE. Xiao Hua was anxious. He did not care about etiquette and roared at AOE. Then, Xiao Hua's mind entered the space again and pulled Ao Sheng out of it. Ao Sheng's dragon body floated in mid-air, looking like it was in deep sleep. Outside the golden dragon body, there was a huge dragon god shadow that was also in deep sleep, slowly taking shape. On the phantom, the dragon patterns were like true dragons. As they swam, countless dragons were born and destroyed, and countless dragon domain phenomena were born. When AOE heard Xiao Hua's shout and saw another king of strange insects in such a state, he knew that the situation was urgent. He urged his dragon body and rushed over. However, when he saw Ao Shang's appearance, he could not help but be dumbfounded. The reverence that came from the bottom of his heart made him involuntarily shout, "Dragon Master Xiao, don't disturb us, bullshit." Xiao Hua would not listen to AOE. He raised his hand and a huge slap landed on Ao Shang's dragon head. Boom. Ao Shang trembled from the slap. The dragon god phantom immediately dissipated and disappeared into his dragon body. AOE sighed continuously. Boom, boom, boom. Seeing that Ao Shang did not wake up, Xiao Hua slapped Ao Shang's face a few more times. Who dares to disturb Laozi? Ao Shang finally woke up. Just as he was about to roar, Xiao Hua immediately roared, "Don't talk nonsense. Quickly tell Laozi, what exactly was inside that long bay when you were in the folded jade legacy realm?" What long bay? When Ao Shang heard Xiao Hua's anger, he trembled and did not dare to say anything. However, he still did not understand what Xiao Hua was saying. Boom. Xiao Hua once again slapped Ao Shang's face and shouted, "Wake up for your father. Look at what this is." What? Ao Shang sleepily looked at the huge strange insect. At first, he did not understand, but after a moment, he shouted again. His dragon body shook violently, and the sleepiness from before had long disappeared. It could be seen that the strange insect in the stacked jade legacy realm had left a huge shadow in his heart. What exactly is inside the long bay that you killed the strange insect? Tell me. Xiao Hua looked at the six-colored spiritual fire on the king of strange insects' body that was about to be extinguished and shouted, "Don't tell me that you didn't think about it carefully later." Holy Dragon Seal. Holy Dragon Seal. Ao Shang also shouted in fear. "I remember telling Master Long about it. Other than the Holy Dragon Seal, what else is there?" Xiao Hua shouted, "Tell me one by one." OE, who was at the side, already knew what Xiao Hua was going to do. He also nervously took out his long bay and waited for Ao Shang to speak. "Nan Hongshan, Chen Yumu." Ao Shang hesitated slightly and began to speak one by one. Second Elder. Xiao Hua shouted, "The king of strange insects is devouring everything that can help it advance. There's no need for Master Long to say more. I understand." AOE had already taken out Nan Hongshan, Chen Yumu, and the others. When he heard Xiao Hua's explanation, he hurriedly waved his hand and threw these things into the space and true chi that the king of strange insects was devouring. "All right." Xiao Hua nodded and hurriedly urged Ao Shang to recall. At the same time, he looked at Immortal Emperor Go Chen and the others. The battle over there was also difficult to determine. The king of strange insects was different from the previous strange insects. It was very agile in space. Even if the paragons of various sects worked together, they could not seal the space. The so-called attacks rarely landed on the king of strange insects' body. There were even many great divine abilities that landed. The spatial laws on the king of strange insects' body distorted, and these divine abilities were also removed. If not for the fact that the king of strange insects was also eager to find an opportunity to advance, it would have escaped from the siege of the paragons of various sects long ago. Damn it! How did things get to this point? Xiao Hua was a little regretful that he had used the six-colored spirit fire. However, he also knew in his heart that other than the six-colored spirit fire that could explode the strange insects, he did not have any other effective methods. Now, I can only place my hopes on Ao Shang, Xiao Hua said helplessly. Unfortunately, Xiao Hua was going to be disappointed in the end. In half a cup of tea's time, Ao Shang had already told him everything that he remembered. Aoe was also very hard-working. He also brought everything in the long bay, but none of these things made the king of strange insects explode. Xiao. Master Xiao. Seeing that Xiao Hua was about to slap him again, Ao Shang said aggrievedly, "That's all in my long bay. Do I have a second sacred dragon seal?" "I have a divine dragon seal that's similar to the sacred dragon seal." Aoe gritted his teeth and took out a dragon-shaped item that was a few feet long from the long bay. It looked like a seal and said in a low voice, "If the sacred dragon seal is useful, this item should be useful too." Why didn't you take it out earlier?" Xiao Hua was exasperated. Aoe shook his head and said, "This item is the same as the sacred dragon seal. It's an ancient item from Dragon Island. It itself." Forget it. At that moment, Aoe did not explain. Then he threw the divine dragon seal into the mouth of the king of strange insects. Xiao Hua stared at the divine dragon seal being devoured by the king of strange insects and then at its body. After more than 10 breaths, other than the body of the king of strange insects trembling, 80% of the spirit fire had disappeared. The divine dragon seal was useless. I knew it. Aoe sighed, not knowing if he was feeling heartache or regretful. Damn it. Xiao Hua punched Ao Shang's dragon body again and said anxiously, "It's not the sacred dragon seal. Hurry up and think what else." "Dragon Master Xiao." Ao Shang was in pain from the beating and shouted, "There's really nothing else. Back then, you didn't come out of the folded jade legacy realm for 3 days. I thought about it for a long time. Other than the pills you gave me, there was really nothing else." "Pills?" Xiao Hua was stunned and asked curiously, "What pills did I give you?" "The blood-replenishing pill you gave me when we were in the deeper Yuan?" Ao Sheng asked curiously. "Don't you remember?" Xiao Hua frowned and thought about it. Indeed, he had some impression of it. However, the blood-replenishing pill was refined by the lightning immortal for the disciples of the Fortune Gate. It was very ordinary, so Xiao Hua did not remember it. But suddenly, Xiao Hua's heart skipped a beat. He waved his hand and took out some spirit herbs from the space and threw them into the space where the king of strange insects was devouring. It was not out of Xiao Hua's expectations. The spirit herbs did not cause any abnormalities. After all, he had used spirit herbs to lure the strange insects in the folded jade legacy realm. "Oh right, I took some that day and asked you for more. You gave me a jade bottle, but there were not many in it. I took one of them, but the effect was not great. The other few were left in the jade bottle and put in the long bay." Ao Shang muttered a few words as if he was dreaming. Boom. Although Ao Shang's words were vague, it was like a bolt from the blue in Xiao Hua's ears. He was really stunned in mid-air. After a few breaths, he waved his trembling hand and took out a jade bottle from the space. Xiao Hua took a deep breath and poured out the pill from the jade bottle. He then put it near his nose and sniffed it. He raised his hand and threw the pill into the space where the king of strange insects was devouring. The king of strange insects was more than 10,000 zhang long, and the pill was only the size of a thumb. However, when the pill entered the king of strange insects' mouth, the king of strange insects' body expanded from its head. It expanded uncontrollably and did not shrink at all. The dark green color and the flickering golden threads of the space law had no effect. Boom. The king of strange insects, which was almost invincible in the 3 continents, and whose strength was close to the 10th grade, inexplicably exploded just like that. The strange aura that could destroy the world, the deformed black threads, and all the other apocalyptic phenomena disappeared like a splash of water. What kind of pill is this?" Aoe was dumbfounded. He looked at Xiao Hua in disbelief and couldn't help but exclaim. Xiao Hua's tears were about to fall. These were tears of excitement and gratitude. At this moment, his heart was only filled with the image of the cultivator, who often lay lazily on the boat and basked in the sun. Xiao Yuehong, the person who gave Xiao Hua his knowledge, the person who picked Xiao Hua up from the demon-resisting valley, the person who had always acknowledged Xiao Hua as half his disciple. "Master." Xiao Hua's heart was intoxicated. He knew best in his heart that what he had just thrown into the king of strange insects' mouth was the parasol pill that he had refined when Xiao Yuehong was watching over him. It was a healing pill refined from the parasol grass and blood-devouring grass of the Dawn Rain continent. It was an ordinary pill that any cultivator, even if they were at the first level of qi refinement, could take. The reason why Xiao Hua had kept this most basic pill was to commemorate the person who gave him his name. The person who had died at the hands of a nascent soul cultivator. But it was this ancient memory that today saved Xiao Hua's life. And in the future, it would also save the lives of millions of creatures. This was because Xiao Hua's most ordinary parasol pill was refined using the worldly origin energy of the Dawn Rain continent. When Xiao Hua refined this parasol pill, the worldly origin energy of the Dawn Rain continent had already begun to mutate. This mutated worldly origin energy was admittedly the misfortune of the Dawn Rain continent's Dao cultivators, but at the same time, it was also the blessing of the three continents. The heavenly Dao was boundless, but the heavenly Dao was impartial. Before the three continents sensed the apocalypse, the heavenly Dao had already left behind a method to eliminate this world-destroying strange insects on the Dawn Rain continent. What Xiao Hua needed to do now was to find a way to use the method left behind by the heavenly Dao on the Dawn Rain continent. However, how could he bring the mutated worldly origin energy of the Dawn Rain continent to the three continents? At this moment, Xiao Hua didn't have the time to think about this problem. This was because when the strange insect king exploded, the other strange insect king that was fighting with immortal Emperor Go Chen immediately became alert. Swoosh! A wave of ferocious tide-like fluctuations emerged from the strange insect king's body and spread towards the depths of the void. Don't let it escape! Xiao Hua shouted. His body turned into lightning as he rushed over with the other parasol pill. Immortal Emperor Go Chen and the other supremes lost a lot of face. They simply didn't expect that there would be such a powerful strange insect in this world. It was able to ignore the worldly laws of the three continents. Their divine abilities couldn't even touch its hair. Now that they saw the fluctuations coming from the strange insect king's body, how could they not know that it wanted to escape? It was fine if several Supremes couldn't kill one strange insect king, but if they let it escape, the Supremes didn't dare to think too much. After hearing Xiao Hua's shout, they all activated their divine abilities. They didn't want to succeed, but they wanted to not make any mistakes. They wanted to trap the strange insect king in this space. The fortune of the Confucian cultivators was like a belt, the faith of the Buddhist sect was like a river, the stars and moon of the demon race were like swords, and the dragon language of the dragon race was like a loop. The space around the strange insect king was sealed layer by layer. Strange runes were also born from the confinement. A power that exceeded the worldly laws even attracted the power of laws. The fluctuations came down like a blanket, however. Before Xiao Hua could get close, he saw a pitch-black light flash before his eyes. The strange insect king's body actually disappeared in an instant. Xiao Hua found it inconceivable that he had disappeared so abruptly. Without hesitation, he activated his delusion breaker Dharma Eye. Unfortunately, there was no trace of the strange insect king within the range of his illusion breaker Dharma Eye. Even the flea-like black dot in the void began to mysteriously disappear at this time. Swoosh! Swoosh! Caught almost at the same time when Xiao Hua opened his illusion breaker Dharma Eye, Immortal Emperor Go Chen's clear heavenly mirror, Dip Ankara archaic Buddha's Buddhism divine abilities, and Ao Yi's dragon race secret arts were all activated at the same time. Through his illusion breaker Dharma Eye, Xiao Hua could see a few powerful halos flashing by and enveloping his surroundings. Sigh! Xiao Hua saw that he couldn't do anything. He closed his illusion breaker Dharma Eye and stopped moving. He sighed and said, "Things in this world are really strange. Although I've cultivated to the peak of the three continents and have the chance to look down on all the mountains, I still have to face them. But, I can't do anything to stop this strange insect king from leaving. Not to mention me, even the supremes of the various sects can't do anything to it. This Xiao can only say that. There is always a sky beyond the sky, a mountain beyond a mountain, and a person beyond a person." Sure enough, after a while, Immortal Emperor Go Chen's face turned pale. He kept the clear heavenly mirror and looked at the various supremes. Just as he was about to speak, he glanced at the strange insect king in the nearest space and sneered. "Empress, quickly keep the jade pool." "Yes, your majesty." The East Sea Queen's face also turned pale. She thought that Immortal Emperor Go Chen was embarrassed by the situation, so she hurriedly kept the jade pool. But before she could do so, Immortal Emperor Go Chen raised his hand and slapped the golden throne. Boom! Several golden lights gushed out of the Lingyun side palace like fountains. Rumble! Rumble! As the golden light fell, the entire dilapidated soaring cloud side palace immediately collapsed inch by inch and exploded. The countless strange insects in the soaring cloud side palace crazily devoured the vital energy in the explosion and exploded one by one. The destruction of the palace and the destruction of the insects triggered the collapse of the palace. The entire space began to shake violently. Your Majesty! The East Sea Queen didn't expect Immortal Emperor Go Chen to be so decisive. She exclaimed, "This Lingyun side palace is..." Humph! Immortal Emperor Go Chen snorted coldly and said, "There are billions of strange insects in this Lingyun side palace. If we let them go back, who knows how many cultivators and citizens they will devour. It's better to destroy them all here. Even if we have to sacrifice the entire Lingyun side palace, it's still worth it." Good. Xiao Hua clapped his hands and said with a smile, "This Xiao has never seen your Majesty so pleasing to the eye." Immortal Emperor Go Chen glanced at Xiao Hua and said coldly, "That's because you have never used your heart to look at me." Xiao Hua asked back, "The question is, Your Majesty, where are the immortal soldiers and immortal generals inside the Lingyun side palace?" "They will naturally escape." Immortal Emperor Go Chen replied indifferently, "Even Princess Qing Qing and the others will also escape." As he said this, Immortal Emperor Go Chen intentionally or unintentionally glanced at the Thunderbolt Immortal. After a little less than an hour, the entire Lingyun side palace was completely destroyed. Just as Immortal Emperor Go Chen thought, 90% of the strange insects were killed along with the Lingyun side palace. The remaining 10% either escaped or were chased down by the immortal soldiers and immortal generals. There was no need for the supremes of the various sects to take action. Xiao Hua and the other supremes stood in the sky, which was the center of the space. After the Lingyun side palace was destroyed, the collapsed space fell around them and slowly disappeared. It was as if they were not part of this space at all. The coldness on their faces was also completely different from the heat of the space. Seeing that the collapse was coming to an end, Immortal Emperor Go Chen looked at the thumb-sized parasol pill in Xiao Hua's hand. His eyes flashed with a strange expression as he asked, "Master Xiao Lei, can you tell me what this miraculous pill in your hand is?" "Parasol pill." Xiao Hua did not hide anything and honestly answered, "Parasol pill?" Not to mention Immortal Emperor Go Chen, even Grand Mist Ancestor and Aoe, who had a pair of dragon ears, were baffled. It was obvious that they had never heard of this name before. The parasol pill is refined using parasol grass and blood-devouring grass. It is the most basic healing pill of my Dao Gate, Xiao Hua explained. Grand Mist Ancestor's eyes unconsciously lit up when he heard this. He hurriedly waved his hand and took out a pill. He said excitedly, "Daoist Xiao So. My Dao Gate's healing pill. Is the innate nemesis of the strange insects? You can try." Xiao Hua replied indifferently. "Whoa." Without waiting for Xiao Hua to finish speaking, Grand Mist Ancestor raised his hand. A large illusory hand appeared and grabbed one of the strange insects that were left behind in the distance. Then, he confidently flicked his hand and the pill landed right in front of the strange insect. When the strange insect smelled the pill, it immediately moved its legs and pounced over. It opened its mouth and swallowed the pill into its stomach. Unfortunately, when the pill entered the strange insect's body, the strange insect's body only expanded slightly. There was no abnormality. Daoist Xiao, could it be that you are hiding something? Grand Mist Ancestor was unhappy. Xiao Hua waved his hand and took out 2 spiritual herbs. He nodded and said, "One of them is parasol grass and the other is blood-devouring grass." After speaking, Xiao Hua sent one spiritual herb after another into the strange insect's mouth. After the strange insect swallowed it, its body did not even move. "Master Xiao, do you mean?" Aoe probed. "Is there a secret to your refining technique?" "No." Xiao Hua raised his hand and looked at the parasol pill in his hand. A trace of tenderness appeared on his face as he replied, "It's this pill that is different. Take it and try." Grand Mist Ancestor said unhappily, "I don't believe it." Xiao Hua coldly looked at Grand Mist Ancestor and said, Whether you believe it or not, what does it have to do with me? After speaking, Xueqi did not even look at Grand Mist Ancestor's embarrassed and angry expression. He withdrew his hand and sent the precious parasol pill into the space. Master Xiao, why don't you try again? The golden-winged Great Peng also advised, if you succeed, won't we be more certain? Every time I try, there will be one less pill. Xueqi did not want to brush off the golden-winged Great Peng's face and said with a smile, this kind of pill. I only have a few. Why so few? When the supremes of the various sects saw that Xueqi had the spirit pill that could kill the king of monster insects, and also heard that it was the lowest grade healing spirit pill of Taoism, they all had hope in their hearts, thinking that Xueqi must have a lot of them. However, when they heard Xueqi's words, they couldn't help but be surprised. Even the master of the Eastern Sea, Ao Qian, asked, Master Xueqi, do you have a lot of them? If you don't have the parasol grass and blood-devouring grass, we will do our best to find them. Unfortunately, Xueqi raised his head and looked at the chaotic void in the sky. He shook his head and said, the parasol grass and blood-devouring grass here can't be used. Dragon Master Xiao. The five-horned profound armor dragon was a little displeased. What's so special about this pill? Why was it able to kill the monstrous insect king? I'm sure you already know the answer. At this point, you and I are in the same boat, so why can't you just tell me? I naturally have to tell you. Xueqi's tone was faint as he replied, but I don't know where to start. Master Xueqi, speak slowly. The East Ocean Empress said with a smile, we are all ears. If you feel thirsty, I have a peach of immortality here to moisten your mouth. Hee, then I will have to trouble you, Empress. Xueqi rolled his eyes and said with a smile. The East Ocean Empress did as she said. She nodded and handed a peach of immortality to Xueqi. Xueqi took it and looked at it carefully. He saw that this peach of immortality was the size of a wash basin. It was furry and fluffy, and under the fluffy skin was the peach skin. It was bright red and made people drool just by looking at it. Not to mention, a faint sweet fragrance rushed into Xueqi's mouth and nose. His craving had long been aroused. Xueqi looked left and right and said with a smile, I have never eaten a peach of immortality before. So, I am sorry, everyone has seen a joke. As he spoke, Xueqi opened his mouth and was about to take a bite of the peach of immortality. He only felt the fragrant flesh enter his mouth, and it really melted in his mouth. The wash basin-sized peach of immortality was swallowed by Xueqi in a few mouthfuls. It was not an exaggeration to say that he was wolfing it down. After he finished eating, the East Ocean Empress was about to ask for the peach pit. Xueqi waved his hand and took the pit. He said with a smile, "Oh right, Princess Xixia should also listen to what I want to say. Empress, please wait a moment." The East Ocean Empress opened her mouth and looked at Immortal Emperor Go Chen. Immortal Emperor Go Chen thought for a moment and slightly nodded at the East Ocean Empress, tacitly admitting that Xueqi was greedy for the peach pit. However, the East Ocean Empress was unwilling and said in a low voice, "Master Xueqi, that peach. If it wasn't for the water of the Jade Lake, it would not have sprouted and bear fruit." Yes. Xueqi took out the Kunlun mirror and answered without saying anything. When Princess Xixia came out, Xueqi did not wait for her to speak and said, "Everyone, did I say that I was not in a good mood before? If you want to kill strange insects, there is a basic method to kill them, and that is to use heterogeneous true energy. And within this Zhao's parasol dragon pill, there is also a different type of true energy. This heterogeneous true energy does not belong to the plane of the three continents. It belongs to another plane called the Dawn Rain continent." Let's see the situation of the battle prowess ranking first. Also, I thank everyone for supporting God Cultivation. If everyone can enjoy this chapter to their heart's content, it will be the greatest gratification for the third place. At the same time, I will use this opportunity to call for more readers to subscribe to the original version of this book. The third place does not ask for everyone to subscribe to all the previous chapters. I only hope that everyone can start from the most recent chapters. The story of the immortal world and the desolate era is in everyone's hands. The third place tearfully asks for subscriptions. If the subscriptions reach 1,000, the immortal world will be opened. If the monthly votes reach 100, the next chapter will be opened. If the monthly votes reach 1,000, the next chapter will be opened. How Xiao Hua went against the light to become a saint will depend on everyone. The third place thanks. You're tuning in to the Xueqi's Martial Arts Saga YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.